increase our gourds. Right now I have 3, eventually get up all the way up to 5 once you're fully juiced. Now let's talk about progression in terms of real power. Hit H, and you will head over to this menu. Let's talk about our weapons first. Your weapon should always mirror your level, or you'll be pounding your head against the wall because you just won't be doing damage. The caveat here is it gets relatively expensive, especially once you hit 30. So if you look at my current character, right here you'll see 2 notes and some tonics. It'll tell you exactly where you can get these, one of them being the seasonal shop. Each week, make sure you fully max out on buying these. This is incredibly important not only for your state of mind as the game continues, but just making sure you stay on top of the board in terms of materials. You'll always should have enough jadefish as long as you've been playing the game, so make sure you keep that weekly cap to the max and never go below it. Another thing you should buy, by the way, are these career notes while we're in here. These are extremely valuable. I'll break down exactly why later. Now that we have the weapon, the big tier is the weapon breakthrough. So if I click on Alt 1, I can now select 2 that I'll need. It will tell me, I'll grab them, click breakthrough, and bam, we got the breakthrough. This will give us a massive upgrade. It can be increased based on body. Current bonus 200, maximum bonus 25. So we just got a whole new passive for upgrading. This is extremely important while progressing your weapon levels. Then after that, it'll cost the green materials here. Caveat here is the higher level you go, it will get so expensive you might be living under the bridge in the sewers. So they do give you an option to hit reset by clicking R. It will only give you about 80% of the total resources you spend back, so not bad. We might escape poverty, but you will have to start choosing your mains at this point in the game. Something that you will also have to pay attention to are your inner waves. This is very simple. Right now we only have access to 3. Let's break down each one that we need. 1, you need the horse, moral chant. This is extremely broken in the best slot for most builds. How do we get it? Open up your map, head over to this way shrine right here, and you will see a vendor sitting right here. Go talk to him. He'll have some good books. Purchase all of them. It will cost you 5,000 jades to do so. Yes, it's relatively expensive, but hey, I have a best slot perk. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. You want to have your weapon first. This should be for every build. Make sure you have both your weapon perks. Here, 1. For me, I have Virgil Sword, so I use Sword of Rising. What does this do? This gives me an extra animation to all my skills, making me have big damage, like I mean skyrocket my damage, and allowing me to also have some cool animations. Well, how do you get these incredibly powerful skills? Well, some will be found while doing the mission that it takes to acquire them. So for example, if I scroll down here to the Infernal Twin Blades, click Skill Theft, it will then show me where it is on the map. I can go over there, head in sneaky beaky style, and you want to make sure you loot all the chests, because those chests have a chance to contain one of the skills for your weapon. Now for certain weapons, that won't be the case. Best examples are the sword here and the Nameless Sword here. I'll be having both of these for a lot of my live streams. Make sure to check that out. By the way, for Virgil Sword, I'm going to go into the sewers of the capital. I'll have to go to this market right here, and I will be selling books. Purchase 30 of them, and you will be able to get the book. This will cost you $300,000 in total. It's relatively expensive to get this book. We also then have the Sword More for the Nameless. This is just from claiming your daily rewards. So just make sure you play without like that. It's in one of these menus. Good luck if like mains outside relevant. This menu is absolutely across. It should be lost. Next up, though, we have Mystic Skills. Breakthroughs. These will skyrocket your damage through the stratosphere and allow you to pump like everyone else. Especially for your main skills, these should be your highest priority. Why? Because these roots, these Buddha Tear roots, are extremely rare and they're not easy to get. Therefore, I would highly recommend upgrade the skills that you know you're going to prioritize over everything else. Something else you can upgrade as well are your parry skills. By hitting upgrade, it will take these wine jubs, which are unlocked, by the way, if we open up our map, by this guy over here. It will give you 60 in total. This is extremely important to progressing our character. Finally, in our menu here, we have our talents. This gives us access to a plethora of overpowered abilities, one will save your life, just like if you hit that like button and subscribe. Talking about that, we have Surging. This will allow you to survive fatal damage once, recover 20 HP, and gain 3 seconds of invulnerability with a 12-second cooldown. This makes playing on Legend bearable and other harder difficulties. Without that revive, I probably would have punched a hole in my wall. But what else do we do in the streets? What else should we prioritize? Well, after that, it's best just to follow the main path as far as you're able to go. You mainly want to achieve this one right here is really good, but you will need to get more max HP to unlock it, and one of the best way to get max XP will be to purchasing these skills right here. Sadly, we do have to wait until solo level 5, aka 50, to unlock these, but once we do, you should immediately upgrade this to the max. Translation, make sure you save 9 talents for when our level cap increases, as you'll want to spend that immediately into here. Transition into weapons. For that, we want to solo level 5, aka 50, to unlock these, but once we do, you should immediately upgrade this to the max. Translation, make sure you save 9 talents HP to unlock it, and one of the best way to get max XP will be to purchasing these skills right here. Sadly, we do have to wait until solo level 5, aka 50, to unlock these, but once we do, you should immediately upgrade this to the max. Translation, make sure you save 9 talents for when our level cap increases, as you'll want to spend that immediately into here. Transition into weapons. For that, we want to hit B. Now, we'll be able to look at some juicy weapons. Here, you will have a set bonus. These set bonuses are critical to min-maxing your character, especially later on. We will also be able to tune our weapons. I will describe that at the end of the video, as I will have to switch to my Chinese version to properly showcase that. So, if you don't know which sets your weapon combo uses, click on your weapon, doesn't matter, fan, thunderblade, whatever you want, hit right here. Bam, we're in. Next up, click combinations. This will give you the sets the game recommends. Now, about 95% of the time, this is pretty much best in slot and correct. Now, you do have occasional moments where this won't be correct. Sadly, I can't help you out on that, but this is a very good rule of thumb to follow, especially if you're new, as this will generally always be good. It just might not be best in slot. Next up, I always recommend claiming your challenges over here on the right. If you have any, there's a lot of menus to go through, so make sure you consistently are claiming your challenges. Yes, I know it can be rough and confusing, but I believe in you. You got this. If you guys are wondering, by the way, where you get one of the best skills in the entire game, or boss fighting the Buddha Clap, it will be up here on the map, right next to the shrine. This hands down will allow you to nuke bosses much easier. Combine it with our 3 move, then hit Buddha Clap. Right after, in my opinion, to do boss fights, as the damage is just too high to pass up. Now let's talk about enhancement. Enhancements will make us much stronger, as this increases our min physical and max physical attack across the board while giving us HP and armor. You want to upgrade all of these, by the way. I have played over 100 hours of Where Winds Meet, and in that time frame, I've experienced a lot of joy and a lot of suffering. I was dying to bosses hour to end, and that's because I didn't know how to become so OP that I can walk into a boss room like a Giga Chat and do it for the first time. In this video, I will literally show you how to triple your damage. Just look at the clip. But let's start from the beginning. Now let's talk about gear. There is plenty different ways to get gear in this game. Each of them is more broken than the last. Let's break down your weapon. Your weapon is hands down the most important thing in the entire game to upgrade. You can click on your weapon right here, and you can hit F. This will then allow you to upgrade your weapon to whatever level you want, as long as it doesn't pass your current level. If you're confused and want to get resources, just click the icon down here, hit Alt-1, it will bring you to, like, let's say, the shop, or it might take you to a random point on the map. Either way, it works, and it'll show you how to farm your materials necessary. A good rule of thumb is your weapon should always match your level. So my Powdow's sword here should be level 92, since I'm also level 92. Now, it may not seem like a lot, but it does make a massive difference. You can feel it, especially since I play with a bunch of different weapons. Every time I switch from my 85 down to like a 50 weapon, you feel it immediately. Lots of damage is lost here, so it's a necessity just to take this with you. Now, after we've discovered how to level up our weapons, we can also come over here to our armor. Our armor and weapons should always be very high level. This was a massive mistake that I forgot to do, and this is getting me extremely hard. Don't worry, I'll cover exactly how to get your weapons and gear, very high level, where to get the materials, all of that. But the main thing here I want to talk about is, well, set bonuses. Now, I know we can't read Chinese here, but the cool thing is you can click this little icon right here, and this will allow you to switch to a different set. The sets will be right here. You can quickly click on them to see what they do, so you can easily match all your pieces to one certain set. This will allow you to hit 4 out of 4s consistently, giving you max damage and full max potential. Something I never achieved. Another thing we can do is actually click F on our weapons here. This will give us a prompt to level ourselves up even further. Now, if I wanted to level, let's say, this weapon up, I could easily just put plus here, and it'll start deleting my old gear to fill the requirements to level up this piece of band, so I can start doing more damage. This is a catastrophic amount of extra damage, and I highly recommend doing this if you are going to be fighting bosses. More on that later. Do not fight a boss without proper gear. You will be basically playing the game on ultra hard mode, way harder than horse mode, as I found out. By not leveling up my gear, I was basically playing 1-2 hit simulator, and it was a rough time. You can do this for your weapons. After your weapons, you want to actually upgrade these 2 trinkets down here. After this, your armor. And finally, your last priority would be this piece of gear right here, and then your bow. Now we know how to upgrade gear. How exactly can we get gear? That's relatively good. Well, you have 2 options. You can go out into the open world and farm it. So, for example, when we head over to an outpost, you'll get this chest. Chest here, you'll be given an icon to get 1, 2, or 3 times the materials. You always want to pick 3 times the materials because this resource does refresh a bit every day, and you do have a weekly cap of 600. Especially if you're not going to be playing the game 24/7, it is 100% worth it to continue to suck the bin dry, just like that Tinder date. But if you want to know how to get the real good resources, click the T. Head to the top right here, and then in here you'll see a bunch of bags, a bunch of goodies, and this is where the fun begins. Down here we'll see a bunch of rocks, a bunch of notes, and gear, armor. Here we are after the legendaries. The legendaries can be found in these types of boxes. Or you can come over here to the swords and buy upgrade materials here to further upgrade our level. This is extremely important so we don't hit like a wet noodle. You can then also buy this box. This is hands down the most important box that you want to make sure you're buying of each week. You only can get 10 per week. They'll come in level 41, 55, and 56, and then 61. This is why I highly recommend only leveling up your weapons when you're going to go fight a boss in the world. Pretty much the story mode doesn't have very many bosses whatsoever, so you can avoid a vast amount of fighting. And because of this, I highly recommend waiting until you're a certain level and then start going around the map and spam killing everything. Especially if you're playing on legend difficulty, this will help you immensely. You don't need a bunch of things you get from these quests early on. It comes way more useful later. I will show you what you want to prioritize in terms of skills, so you don't waste your time farming the wrong instance or doing the wrong dungeon, because some of them just aren't worth it. And you can be stuck on a boss for hours, and that sucks. I've experienced that firsthand. Well, once we buy our box, you come into your inventory right here, you can click on it, open it, and then you can choose the level you want. After this, you just click 1, bam, and then it'll come up to the top of the screen. Here, you open it again, and then you can pick whichever piece of gear your heart desires. I personally right now want an extra glaive because I'm trying out glaive right now. So let's open that bad boy up. See, bam, it's legendary. Then I click F to upgrade it. I can use these rocks here, click on it a bunch of times, and upgrade it again. Now, chat, we are cooking harder than Gordon Ramsay. Our weapon fully maxed out, and this thing will hit like a freight train now. Well, over double the damage, like 150% more damage we just got by doing this. And we're not even done. There is still so many ways to increase our power level. Next, hit H again. Head over to the top right, and then come down here to armor select. All your old gear after 41 will be put into this category. You want to max this out so it gets into this bar. You want to do this each set tier, so give you more damage and tankiness across the board, just making you stronger. And because of this, it is always okay to upgrade your gear after level 41, because that old gear can be put into there and allow you to get a little more stats, but there is a cap, so do keep that in mind. But I wouldn't try fighting any open world bosses unless you absolutely have to until 41, so you can get pretty much god gear, go quickly for everything, and you'll be good to go. After that, you have this holding type. This is another massive thing. If you want to upgrade this once again, try and get this doing it, because you know, I've been focusing on other things, but I'll just buy 500 of these rocks, click this button space, and then we can do this a bunch of times. Now, since I am broke and living in strict poverty, depressing times, chat, I no longer can upgrade this from Infinity and beyond. But basically, priority is the same as before. Upgrade your weapons first, then your jewelry, and then your armor, then your trinket down here. You can't even do it, and then your bow. Now that we have upgrades pretty much out of the way, let's head over to our bird friend here, as this guy has some very important passives we want to make our life 10 times easier. Come to your birdie friend here, he will have an absolute plethora of upgrades. Now, you always want to follow the main path. Always follow this line, never go from it unless you want something in particular. These will give you very strong upgrades just following this all the way to the end. I highly recommend doing this. This is just, in my opinion, the best way to level, and from my tiniest of veterans in the chat, they also agree. You can occasionally branch off. Let's say if you want more help towards world bosses or just want some extra tankiness, you can do that, but ideally you want to stay on the golden rule. Now we can hit H on our keyboard. I'm over here and we'll see another wheel here. Now it's getting confusing. Here we have insane amount of upgrades that we have to prioritize. Don't worry, I'll break down how to get these later. You want to once again follow the main path. This will just give you the best overall upgrades. The only time you should stop and go down is if you see a man. This will give you very strong, unique passives. Now in the open world, these are super useful. They're more for boss fights. Every time you see one, get it. Unless it's not very good, then you can skip it. But mainly, I've been grabbing all of these and they've been extremely, extremely helpful on my journey, making me much stronger. Why? Because some of them allow me to cheat death, give me an extra revive, kind of like in Sekiro. Another one allows one hit to be completely nullified, and because of this, it's extremely valuable to get these passives. Now, while we're in here, how do we get them? Well, you'll see a little world icon down here. This is relatively simple. Everything we do in the entire game will count towards this. Questing, looting, murdering livestock, it does not matter. Everything we basically do will towards that. Opening a chest for the first time, finding some nice butterflies, everything we do. But how do we upgrade our? You see a birdie icon on your map, head over to it and immediately gather it. Never skip these. Think of this as like your long-term progression arc. You wouldn't want to skip out on your protein shake after you've hit the gym or your early morning coffee because you'll know you'll be absolutely sluggish the rest of the day. So every time you see one of these butterfly icons, go over and get it. This is non-negotiable. Now we know how to get some very strong passives. Let me show you the other vendor really quick. By the way, because I'm sure a lot of people will be confused, he's right here on the map. This guy operates the same as our first companion in the first zone. Now there is a few skills in this game that are an absolute necessity, not only just for having fun, but for killing bosses. These things will make your life 10 times easier. First, we'll have the finger move. This thing is great at fingering people and bosses alike. This allows you to do quests, avoid certain mechanics, and it's pretty much a must-have. Open up your map and head over to this location right here. There'll be a man standing here. You have to talk to him no matter what. He will give you the finger move and you'll be good to go. The next one we will need is the stealing move. This will allow you to steal boss weapons, avoid certain mechanics, and make your life about 10 times easier. In order to grab this must-have skill, head over to the village that we're currently in, and there should be a quest down here. Right here, there'll be a guy sitting beside this pot. Talk to him, do his quest line, and he should give you the stealing move. It's an absolute necessity to basically play the game, so do not skip him. After that, we will have our jumping move. It allows us to jump very high in the sky and do a bit of a grand slam. We get that in this village over here. After you're done doing the main story quests here, an NPC should come up, go over and talk to him. He should be in like this area right here. Do not skip this guy. He will give you this jumping move. Very useful for flying across the map like a crazy person. More importantly, it combos perfectly with the skill. You can hit 3 and then I can hit 9 at the same time, and you'll do the Buddha clap, aka the Goomba stomp. This thing squashes enemies and bosses alike. And honestly, I would say it's the best skill in the entire game for just killing things. I've done this in every boss fight and chat loves it. Come over here on your map, I'll fully zoom out so you can clearly see. Grab this fire right here, then head up to this point. There will be a notebook icon up here. Do this quest line, you will have to fight a boss for this guy. So make sure you'll either lower the difficulty to easy mode if you don't have good gear, or wait until you upgrade your gear, let's say at level 41, then come over here and we'll show him who's boss. He is not too difficult. I felt he was like pretty easy, especially for me, who was extremely underleveled and terrible gear. This guy only took me 8 times, which is pretty impressive because some bosses took me hours. So I thought that guy is not too bad, so you can definitely go and kill him. I believe in you. You got this. Now there's also a few buffs that we apply to your weapon. One is the fire buff for the water and poison. All of them are very good. But the easiest one to get right is fire. Every time you see these little fire things, pick them up. That's 2 fire buffs we got. Head over to the next fire thing. Bam. Another 2 fire dots. We're going to be starting wildfires, boy. This allows us to basically just have a permanent dot on the enemy. If you guys are curious on how to upgrade this, open up your inventory once again. Head down to the bottom right here. Bam. The fire passives. This allows us to turn into a pyromaniac. I highly recommend leveling these up when you get the materials, as they make our buffs much, much stronger. We got our poisons. We got our fire. We got our water. We have our debuffs. Let's talk about our passives. These things are arguably more critical than anything else in the entire game. Let me break down exactly why. You want to hit H, head over here, and you'll see this line of skills. Now, no matter what, you want to get Mr. Horsey over here. Think of this as just a flat 5% healing and damage buff. All you have to do to proc it is basically hit your opponent. You can heal, even by healing myself here, using a skill, it procs naturally. So we have 3 buffs already. That stonk's going up. Extremely strong, extremely valuable, and it's very easy to get. Just hit space and it'll track you to the proper location. Now, once you have this, you can actually upgrade it by hitting F and collecting these horse books. There is a few ways to grab these. You can hit Alt 1 here and it'll come from these chests. You can click open. Bam, we didn't get one, so not very good luck there. RNG Jesus was not on our side. That's the same way pretty much to upgrade all of these, but there is another way. We can hit Alt 2 and it'll show us a zone in which we can farm them, or we can scroll down here to the bottom, to the second part of the map, click this icon right here and travel over to this vendor. Here, once we're done traveling, we'll head over to the man with the shop icon on his head and give him a nice handshake. Here, you'll be able to purchase upgrades for your horsey. This will give you a bit more damage. It's a nice buff overall. It will cost our circle coins. Remember, these are very valuable, especially in the early game when you have a limited amount. After we buy our horsey, we'll just go and upgrade it. Now for the other 2 passives we want to have, no matter what, will be our weapon passives. Now these are very easy to tell. You just click on them, click on like this blue line, and it'll tell you exactly which weapon. We just do that again. Bam, this one's for the greatsword. These give you a lot of extra bonuses. For example, we use the greatsword 1 as it's arguably the easiest to show. Now I can hold R, and normally I only would have 2 charges, and the new charge will be glowing red. So 1, 2, 3, now it's red, meaning our damage is sky high, just like my ego. But in short, you just want to have horsey passive no matter what, then your 2 weapon passives here, and your 4th passive can be used to do whatever you want. I like the armor one, but it's really up to you what you put here. Just choose whatever fits your playstyle. Next up, we have redoing dungeons, doing outposts that are scattered around the map. What exactly? Well, doing an outpost will allow you to wear better gear, so you have to do these. Without them, I wouldn't even be able to equip my legendary gear here, so you need to do outposts just to unlock the ability to wear these. On top of that, it does give you some solid gear in the chest. But if you guys are looking for pure gear, in my opinion, it's better to do a boss, especially if you can change the difficulty to easy mode if you want. Here, it'll give you little fragments. These will allow you to buy things from the shop. It'll give you a chest. These gold cards are too, well, gotcha, baby. It's time to roll 777s and get that 20,000 USD boat. Yes, 20k USD boat from one lucky draw. I don't even think that's possible, but a man can dream. It'll also give you some weapons, some icons, a few random chests, and then some currency. This is extremely important to do if you are, let's say, locked and you want some better gear and you ran out of our golden chest that gave us our legendary to begin with. So if you don't have these, the next best option would be to go do those dungeons and just farm them until you get something like, and then upgrade. If you want, you can reclaim these bonuses on your tree here. This will give you just instantaneous rewards such as upgrade materials, some free money. It's extremely important to do, especially if you're short on cash. Now picking your weapon combo in this game will be very difficult. So let me give you an easy way to simplify it so you don't bang your head against the wall and cause momentum up. Breakdown, we already have enough of that outside of gaming. So once you pick your main weapon, let's say I absolutely love this sword. It's my favorite weapon. So you'll see this little icon on the right next to the weapons. Just match that. That's all you have to do. So these 2 weapons will be a great combo. They might not be S+ tier, but they'll be for sure at least A+ to S tier. You can do this for every weapon combo. So my brother in Christ, DMC. Virgil's sword here has this icon. Therefore, it would be a fantastic pairing with this spear. And this is what all my veterans in chat say. They've been playing this game for 500 plus hours. This is a very simple way to pick a solid weapon combo if you're just unsure. In the early game, healing is essential to surviving. You'll have no way to really heal, and the fan is hands down the best source to do this. You'll get an AoE heal, nice little AoE. You'll have a dot over time, and you can spam R on your keyboard to continuously heal yourself, giving you a massive amount of HP. How do you get the fan? Well, you'll have two options. Either take it from my hairy friend here, or by doing the quest, and it's about down here on the map, you will need a key. This key is acquired 2 to 3 hours into the game around this location. Use that key to open up this door on its own, or you can use that key to get another weapon, the other weapon being something like a sword. Now, if you get the first key about 3 hours of playing, once again over here, and then you get another key by opening the boxes that are located in the game. So, for RNG, it's on your side. If you want to get the other weapons, such as the glaive, this weapon right here, it'll take you up to level 16, and you should get a keys in your mail, or you can join the club here. This will also unlock the glaive. Last one is the umbrella, and I still have yet to unlock. This over here. This is in Kaifeng. This will take you about 15 hours to get to, and top of the main story over here. Travel to the city of Stone, and then do this quest, and once you unlock the capital, then you can just speedrun over and do this quest if you want. It always will store a potions on you. These things are the big stages of fight. I say the big boys monsters here for what I know, that the boss will shut down. You're able to, once you come to the HP, and you start popping these, and then you'll now, if you did find this video helpful, then like me, hit that like button, subscribe. Don't worry about it. The next video, I'm sure looking for more tips that you can learn later.
Hey guys, welcome to the video where Rinse Meet launch is happening in less than 24 hours. So this video I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'll talk about the social aspects of this game, the guild, Master Disciple, Sworn Brotherhood, and even marriage, and also a bit of the MMO mode. Many people are asking like if this game is an MMO, and I'll just say it straight. It's if you've been playing traditional MMOs, this is not one of them. But yeah, first things first, the guild. So there's going to be a guild system. It's like a traditional guild where you can go up to 80 members, and then there will be guild PvP. I'm sure this won't be out on launch for the guild PvP. There are other activities like delivering items for the guild to the NPC. There's also guild raids. There is weekly guild PvP among your members. So like 1v1. There's also weekly boss kills for the guild, like 1v1 against the boss. And if you're a guild leader or a vice leader, you can set the schedules for this. Like for example, this is the guild PvP for members. You can set it like every which day at what time. Same for the boss fights. And I highly recommend joining a guild as soon as you can once it's available, because guilds give you a couple of things that you can level up. Number one, guild lets you have increased weekly yield. So I didn't talk about this in my previous video, but people have been asking like, are there dailies in this game? So dailies in this game, it's non-existent. It's not like you have a checklist every day that you need to do a bit of this, a bit of that routine, and then get your daily. The only daily that you need in this game is simply logging in, the daily sign-in reward. So this thing over here, just in case if you miss any rewards, you can always make it up. You can make up for lost days with attempts here, and then you get more of these attempts every time you do your weekly, and I'll get to weekly in a bit. So yeah, for dailies, just need to sign in and check in, get this reward, and also if you have the monthly subscription, then also get that as well, just log in and then get it. However, there are daily missions in your battle pass, but I wouldn't sweat this because this is really easy to clear. Battle pass is really easy to cap before the season finishes. They give you a lot of leeway, so only battle pass has daily, weekly, and also like the seasonal missions. Now when it comes to weekly, it's really simple. You just need to clock the full 20,000 of this fish currency. So this fish jade, you simply play the game, play your stamina, and you already get this. Like you can literally do any activity, and you're already gonna get this fish currency up to 23,000. And at the same time, you're also gonna get this other jade currency. So these two go hand in hand. And this fish currency is really good for you because this is where you will buy most of your progression materials for free. Like this is the weekly shop for the fish currency, and you just buy your materials here. Like this is for your mystical arts, this is for your internal arts. So yeah, very easy to cap it. I capped that like the first day without even playing much. So that's for your weeklies. And now the next thing, all of these here, starting from the top left, this is marriage, and then bottom left, this is friendship level. Top right would be Master and Disciple, and bottom right would be Brotherhood. So I'll go through one by one. So marriage, yeah, you can marry anyone in this game, any gender. The requirements for marriage is that you need to be at least level 2 friendship with somebody. And level 2 is easy, that's just 2 weeks of playing together. So when you marry someone, you get this level over here, these tiered levels. So just pay attention to this because all other social things like the Disciple and Master also follow this system. So every week you can get 2,000 XP for marriage, and you simply get that by playing together. Do any activities, do any raids together, and then you get 2,000 a week. So like marriage, at level 0, you already get this heart emote, and then you get more things, cosmetics, get a hair, get outfit, get this funny emote as well, scenes, props, and then more emotes. And the last perk for marriage is that whenever you're in raids, you get to revive each other once every 12 hours. So it's a nice gimmick. You also get notified when one of you gets injured, but most importantly is when you've done your 2,000 points, you also get a currency. And this currency is shared across all 3 of them, marriage, Master Disciple, and Brotherhood. So at this point, you can only get 2,000 of this every week. And this is the marriage shop. So dice, fireworks, just fun things, accessory, scenes, name card, hair, outfit, gifts, title, more titles, and then more emotes. So this is really cheap, it's only 300, and you only need to be a certain level to get this. This one as well. So yeah, it's all for the exclusive skins and rewards, emotes as well, when you do marriage, when you do a Master and Disciple. So going back out, Master and Disciple, same thing. One Master can have 5 disciples. And if you're a disciple of a Master, you can also be a Master of your own disciples. So you can be a Master and also a Disciple. And the rules are the same. Just play together, and then you'll get your weekly experience cap for this. And then Master and Disciple is also got their own shop. Same thing, die, fireworks, and then Master and Disciple outfit, title, and then emotes, just like that. And now moving on to Brotherhood, Sworn Brotherhood. This is pretty much the same thing, except you can go up to 10 people, and then just raid together, and then you can level this up. And then same thing, you can buy things in the Sworn Brotherhood shop. So you can see the shops are similar. The system is identical, the outfit, emotes. Now, if you want to min-max this hole, you can do exactly what I did. I had Master Disciple with the same group of friends. Same for my Brotherhood, same group of friends in my Brotherhood, and then same group of friends in my marriage. Okay, this one is interesting. Same group of friends in marriage, because I have multiple marriages, and it's only possible if you join the harem sect. If you join the harem sect, like the Playboy sect, they allow you to have polygamy, multiple marriages. So I have that also with the same group of people. But there isn't much advantage in doing this. It's mostly for fun, just like fun, because every week you're still capped at 2,000 coins for your weekly. It's more of leveling the individual marriages just so that the other person can get them as well. For me, I don't really need it because I'm already like all the way up here. So this is more beneficial to them than to me. But yeah, that's besides the point. So that's the meta. Just have the same people in all the groups, and then you can grind all of them. As long as you do activity together, you get XP on all of them at once. Now the last tab on the bottom left, this is friendship level. This game has friendship levels with every single friend. It's just fun stuff. You just play together, and then you can unlock little features between you and your friend. Just like knowing when they get online, you get a notification when they get online, or things like them not needing your permission anymore. If they want to co-op with you, they can straight away like drop into your world, or not needing permission to join your party. And also you can borrow their outfits. You can rent their outfits like 30 minutes a week. You can pick anything from their presets. So if you have whale friends, you can try on their outfits for 30 minutes. You can even take it to raids. But yeah, that's about it for the social parts in this game. So social groups. Now the next thing will be sect. So sect is a fun thing. I know a lot of people have been asking like, oh my god, which sect should I join? Which one should I commit? So let me just tell you straight, you don't have to hard commit to a sect. Like you don't have to join one and that's it, you're locked in forever. I mean, you can if you want to roleplay, but most people join sect to buy the individual sect shops, exclusive shop. So it's just like how I said with the mentor, the disciple, and the master and marriage. All of them have their own shop. All of them have their own exclusive skins. All of them have their own exclusive emotes. So what you do, or what normally people would do, is join one, you get promoted inside, and then you buy all the exclusive stuff, all the roads, and once you're done, you move on, you leave, and you move on to the next one, and you repeat the next thing, and all the exclusive stuff, and then you move on to the next one. I would say if you want to clear everything in the shop, it takes about maybe 2 months, or almost 2 months to buy the things that matter. So you can move on, you'll get like 1,500 currency every week by looking at all this. So it's mostly a fun feature. It's not something super important or gameplay. And not to worry with the missions. If you have no sect, which is pretty much most of us when we start the game, you have no sect, you can still do sect missions. These are the missions, and these are very simple missions. You can also reload them. It's gonna be things like, do begging, and let people do the money cost menu, or read the newspaper. You can just reload the mission and it's easy for you. And then you get 1,500 every week. It's easy to get missions every day. You can get 1,500 by the 4th day or 5th day. Very easy. So I'll briefly mention the sect. I don't know the English name for all these sects. I know this one, the very first one, it's called Heaven Spring. This is the Bromance sect. So this Bromance sect, pretty much hot spring and bromance, and very generous. I've joined this sect before, and basically you cannot make more than 1 million coin in a week, or else they'll penalize you. But you don't have to really worry about that. You can make that penalty back in no time. But yeah, this is like the very charitable, generous sect. And another thing is, when you join the sect, you will immediately learn all of their skills, whatever they have. Like the healing sect, you will learn both fans, healing fan and DPS fan. But you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to specifically join a sect to learn their skill. Think of this as a bonus thing, because you can always steal them. There will be caves in the map when you start the game, and you just go there, and then you observe the master doing the thing, and then you just learn it. And it's good to do it because there's a lot of treasure chests in those caves. But yeah, that's another perk of joining sect. So yeah, first one, Heaven Spring, is Bromance. This one, the second one, this is a healing sect. So their rule is that they need to always heal in a multiplayer, like raids, and then they'll get points. And every week, they need to get at least 15 likes, or else they get minus 10 points. This is just fun stuff. So when you heal people, people can give you likes, up to 5 likes, when you heal their injury. So yeah, every 15, you need to get 15 likes a week. And then the next sect, this is the drinking sect. This one, you just need to stay drunk every week, fill a quota, stay drunk. And then the next one, this one's new in CN server. This is the engineering sect, the nerds. And then the next one, I remember this one is called Midnight Blades. This is the PvP sect. So the rule of this sect is you never run away from a battle, and you get points for killing players, and you also lose points for losing to players. But yeah, the rule of this sect is in the open world, you never run away from a battle. You always fight battles. So I personally know a friend that is from this sect, and they went to jail. And I asked them, why did you go to jail? And they said that an NPC attacked them for no reason, but I never run away from my battles, and they killed the NPC. And then they got in trouble. But yeah, now the next sect, this one is called 9-Way sect. This is the scammer sect, guys. This is the scammer sect. The mouse, this is the rat sect, like literally the rat. If you've seen the rope dart skill in my video, they have a rat. Yeah, that skill belongs to this sect, 9-Way sect. It's really funny because they might impersonate as other sect recruiters, and then you say you want to join, and then you end up joining here, and you get confused as to like, why are you here? why am I in this sect? Or I'm pretty sure some people will fall for it, but sometimes when people want to join sect, they will check like what they have for sale in the shop. So if you check the shop here, look at that. They have the orb, gacha orb in their guild shop, their sect shop, every month for only 898 sect currency. Sounds too good to be true. It usually is too good to be true, so just watch out for this one. Alright, moving on from the scammer sect. This is Li Yuan. This is the idol sect, where they're all performers. I don't think this is open on global yet, but yeah, this is where they all play instruments and stuff. This is very new in CN. Oh, I skipped one more, the one above here. This is the sect that I am in. I think it's called the Drunken Flower sect. This is the harem sect. Also performers, and then it allows you to have multiple marriages. And you get into trouble if one of your marriages perform a divorce on you. Next one. This one is a sect for strategic sword. This is the big brain sect, like the math sect. I remember if you want to join this sect, you have to do 4 questions, multiple choice questions, where they ask you like some insane math problem, and I just like kept redoing it, ABCD, ABB, ABBD, until I got in. But yeah, this one teaches you 9 sword, strategic sword, and the last 2 are not released on CN yet. But yeah, these are all the sects, so just join whatever you want. The only thing to note is that, let's say you want to get out of the sect, you're already done at the shop, or you regret joining the sect, you can always leave at any time. But when you leave, usually there's a penalty. Usually they'll just throw you into a battle royale PvP. Like that's the penalty. And if you don't like PvP, just run to the wall and kill yourself. And the other thing about sect is that usually within the sect there are ranks. Basically you just do all these missions and you can already rank up. The other thing is that if you leave a sect, your rank will be reset. if you ever join back again. So make sure to finish the shop before you leave the sec if you're doing a sec hopping for the shop. Like this one is only available at the second highest rank. Make sure to get all of this first before you leave and jump to another one. Now for the MMO part of the game, so when you go to the map at the top left, it says here I'm on single player. You can go right here. This is MMO mode. So you can see like there's some changes on the map, especially this part. If I go MMO mode, lots of MMO activities popped up. So let me go there. So MMO mode is where you can see all the players. But there's a render limit of like 30 players, but everybody is here. So the more I walk, the more I load other players, and the ones behind me gets unloaded like that. Lots of players. It's like the group training area. You see how all the players are popped up now? And then I can join in on the training. So today's activity is planking. So you just do this until the gauge on the left, top left is full, and then you just get some weekly rewards like that. Planking. More people plank together, the faster it finishes. Basically that. You can even visit the jail. Like this area is a jail. Real players getting sent to prison. Like that. All these are real players. They got sent to prison for some reason. But yeah, just a short overview of MMO mode. It's a mode that you drop into if you want to see every other player and also do some casual activities together. But most of the game is in single player mode. Like you wouldn't go MMO mode to do PvE. That's all in single player. Now, if you made it this far into the video, that's great. I'll just offer you some tips that you might not want to miss, and it's going to be very good for you if you do them immediately. The first one is the assassinate function. So assassinate can be done in two ways. One is you run up to them and you press F, and the other one is you do it from the air. I recommend the air. That's a lot easier. So like this. So assassinate skill, you can already get it at the start of the game. This is at the start of the game where you're going to start the game. And if you look over here, right here, just do the quest on this blue booklet, and then you can learn it. So just go here and do it. Remember this area. Basically, all these blue booklets are good for you. Just like the one to the left over here to the west. Do this one, and then you can learn the mist, where you put the mist around you, and the enemies lose sight of you, and you can just perform assassinate on all of them. So yeah, blue books, very good. And next thing, there are a couple of main missions and side quests where they award you with this thing over here, this scroll. This scroll can be used to upgrade your healing. So with that scroll, you bring it to the clinic over here, and then you give it to Yao Yao. Say that you want to level it up. So here, you raise the level of your healing. And the more you raise, the more you can bring. So see, level 5, I can already bring 3. It also gets more effective. So yeah, now I can hold 3 healing, like that. So next thing I want to talk about, flying. I'm sure you've seen many clips about flying. It's also very easy to get. So 2 things you need. Number 1, the license to fly. So to get a license to fly, you need level 4 in exploration for Qinghe. And then you're going to get this that allows you to fly. Number 2, the flying skill itself. So 2 of the other flying skills already come from exploration, level 5 and level 6. Level 5 gives you the fan flying. Level 6 gives you the unarmed flying. And then the spear flying, all you need to do is the map over here. You go all the way to this lake, little lake over here. Do this quest, and this guy will give you the spear flying. So once you have the 2 things, the license to fly and level 4 exploration and this thing, you can already start flying with the spear. And trust me, it's also the best one. Spear flying is the fastest and the one that gives you the most altitude, like that. That's the spear flying. The rest, the fan, and then unarmed. These 2 are from the exploration, level 5 and 6. And this is sword flying. So sword flying, you just need to finish this mission over here, the daily mission, and then you will get it. Now, last important thing in this video, if you look at my minimap, if you look at my minimap, you see this little like insect icon on this map. If you see it, do it. Do all of it. This is very, very important. They come in different forms, like this one. If you see a pile of rocks, just break it and catch the cricket. That cricket, catch it. That's it. So you see there's one more over here. So that's a beehive. This one, you need a fire arrow. Shoot it, and then pick it up. If you don't shoot it, you're gonna get stung by the bees, and then you're gonna get poisoning, the bee venom or wasp venom, and then you're gonna need a player to heal you or go to the doctor. And then this other one is also I think it's I don't know what is it, a beetle, a mantis. Just pick it up. Oh yeah, it's a praying mantis. Just follow it, and then pick it up. And then there's one more over here. So all the insect icons. So there's also going to be one like this, the red mushrooms, and then you look up, all you need to do is just jump and touch it. And then you got it. Alright, the last variation of that buck icon would be this purple plant. If you see this purple plant, you just need to shoot down all these purple butterflies in the air. There's like a couple, I think there's 2 here. And you're going to learn this skill soon, this senses. You can sense it and you can see where they are. Just play the main story and you'll learn this. So shoot them, and then there's one more over here. Shoot it. And then you can claim it. Like that. So why I say it's very important, it's because when you look at the map, there's going to be this NPC over here where you can turn in all your bugs. And this is the good stuff. It's like really, really good stuff. Let me show you. This is like a skill tree where you use your bugs to activate the nodes. So this is like plus 5 stamina, plus 150 HP, plus 10 mystical arts energy, things like that. So I recommend just going on the main line for now. Just go straight. Don't go to the branches yet. Just go straight. And look at this skill over here. This is the one that I wanted you guys to see for collecting all the bugs. This one lets you learn the sprint skill. So that one is a sprint skill. All you need to do is hold dodge and you can run really fast, but you also need the flying license. So you need to be level 4 Qinghe to be able to sprint in the map. But this is where you learn it. And if you go further down the skill tree, there's also the upgrade for it that lets you run up buildings and jump on buildings as well, like that, run on walls. So when you learn all of this, you're practically a hardcore master. So both sprint skills, the first one you get, this one you run straight, you can also skip on water, like this preview, skip on water. And then the other one is the one where you can run up walls. So these 2 come from collecting the bugs. So collect all the bugs you see. And these 4 up here are all the flying, I already explained. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Learning all these will really help with your exploration. So yeah guys, there's just so much to talk about in this game, like there's way too many things for me to cover in one video. Hopefully this will be helpful to you. Just play the game, you'll just learn things on your own on the way. I'll also be streaming the game on launch, so you can ask me anything and I'll try my best to answer during the stream. But yeah, enjoy Where We Meet launch, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
I was wrong about Weapons Meat, because in one of my last videos I said that the sandbox of the game is not complex enough. Well, let me tell you, I've spent a lot of time with Weapons Meat content over the last weeks, and I was also fortunate enough to get access to the game early, thanks to Everstone Studios, thank you very much. And I didn't expect the sandbox features of the MMO section of the game to be that deep. I mean, to be precise, we are still not talking about Age of Wushu levels of deep, but it's getting close, and even closer. But if you don't know what Weapons Meat even is, you are at the wrong place right now. You should check out one of my videos that I already made about the game. You can find the links in the video description, and you should do that. It's a great game. But in today's video, we are going to talk about the social sandbox features that are in the game. So we are going to talk about guilds, we're going to talk about sects, which are technically the schools in the game. We're going to talk about hero bonds and intimacy. We are going to talk about sworn brotherhoods, and we are also going to talk about discipleships. So if you want to know what's going on with all of that and you want to find out my secret stuff like that, keep watching. But keep in mind, everything that I'm going to talk about today is just a very small portion of the game. The game's actually a hybrid MMO with also a solo mode and lots of action combat, lots of world bosses, and just so much content. It's impossible to do a single video about it, so this is why I'm doing so many kinds of videos. But now let's jump right in. So the first social sandbox feature that is in the game is the guild function. So you can basically create a guild with your friends or whatever, your clan, something like that, and the guild can hold up to 100 guild members. And if you create a guild, you are going to start by picking a path for your guild, which essentially determines the bonuses that you get for certain content types. But keep in mind, every guild and every guild member can participate in all of the content, so you're not locked out for anything. You just get bonuses for certain types of content, and you also boost the guild progression if you do these types of content. So let's talk about the three types, and the first type is the Blade Sworn Gang. And this is basically the path for guilds with players that will mostly focus on the combat side of things, so PvE and PvP. The first bonus that you will get is if you run PvE dungeon challenges with your guild members, and the second bonus you will get is for participating in guild battles, which I'm going to talk about later. But it's basically territory war against other guilds. The second type that you can choose for your guild is the Changli Pavilion. Changli Pavilion. And it's a leisure type of game, which means that it's a path for guilds that want to enjoy trading and want to enjoy spending time with other guild members. So the first bonus is for all the social content that you can do inside a guild, which means a card tournament, which means song and dance performances, and host themed banquets, and stuff like that. And the second bonus is that you are able to check market good prices from other guild members, which helps you to participate in the trade feature of the game more effectively. And the third type of guild is it doesn't matter which type of guild you join or pick. You can do complex PvP mode. You have some players manage resources and actively makes events in your guild, performances, and I'm not sure if this is going to be available. I also know that so a tournament means that everyone can still allow it, and two players will always be facing each other while tournament means that you can actually pick a boss, and everyone is going to want that boss to speak on basically just tournaments frequently with guild ranks. For all of that, all of the content, you have the guild hub, which is huge. You have a building which is phase. In front of that, you have the Chinese version. They are working on the function that allows guild members to use building functions, which is important. So maybe you can use the town of your guild members and that would be very good. And as I always said, European Union guilds, check out my Discord server. I would love to have or schools. Some call it schools, but it's also say that joining a second game is once you play your game, there's nothing to second. And as I said, it's optional, so you can stay selectless, but if you stay selectless, you will notice that which means that if you join second, you unlock already. Keep in mind, you can just play so once you set, you should keep that in mind. But besides that, there is a specific gameplay element and specific rules and visions that you will have to obey. And if you do that and you follow the rules, you will rank up more cosmetics, more titles, more it's also important to notice that joining second is not permanent. Shop of that specific sector. And another thing that I want to mention here is it's not important to be on the same brotherhood members. Join forward and here on release, and I'm also missing some information, so I'm going to make a separate video on that topic after release, but this is a work in progress list, so...
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here. So today we're talking about Pokimane and some of the drama she has really just inserted herself into over the past 24 hours, where she made a very regrettable and embarrassing tweet that she deleted out of really just embarrassment. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that, but before we get into all that stuff, here's some good news. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new drop from Advanced, a new apple cider hydration flavor jar. It's a banger. Okay, people really like this, so I'm sharing this with you guys because you can use code REV to get 10% off your total order and get this new jar. Everything from Advanced is just a banger. Okay, all their flavors are delicious, and I cannot recommend this company enough. So, again, use the link in the pinned comment and code REV to get 10% off your order. All right, welcome back, guys. So, the last time we talked about Pokimane involved this situation where her podcast that she does with Lily Pichu had a really weird controversy where they were holding off an episode where they were collaborating with Hassan Piker, of all people. This was right after the whole dog shock collar incident started, and apparently it was the team, the editors, and the people who do behind-the-scenes stuff for the podcast. They were the ones who decided to pull the episode, or at least delay it, and Pokimane came out and threw them under the bus and basically made them social pariahs for her own benefit. And then her most recent tweet was this, captioned, "Internet girl." Interesting. But then we have this controversy. So yeah, you might be seeing a Roman salute right here. I was told by the mainstream media that this was an act of war, that this was something that only a Nazi would do. But anyways, we can see this series of tweets here that Pokimane made yesterday that made the rounds, to say the least. So she said this: "I miss when streaming was about gaming, not just drama baiting and clip farming." Interesting from this individual. I can't even play this clip that was posted by Tectone because, yeah, she's dropping N-bombs in this tweets. Basically, Pokimane is the one of the main people who pushed like clip farming for years, and like here's one of the responses to what she said. 300,000 likes and 64,000 bookmarks. You absolute degenerates. But anyways, she also made this tweet recently saying, "Believe victims." Well, I guess if they're men, doesn't really count, because recently Pokimane did a collab with Nina Lynn. Now, if you've been watching the main channel, you know who Nina Lynn is. She has assaulted multiple men live on Twitch, and she has recently come out and apologized, quote-unquote, apologized for the uncomfortable clips. Imagine if a man described their allegations like this, and she's mocking the victims. It's a whole mess, but of course, that's who Pokimane surrounds herself with, and she says, "Believe all victims," until I guess it's Nina Lynn. But anyways, doing the stuff, by the way. And you can see my response to Pokimane, where I said, "We get it, little bro, you need engagement, but come on." Now, you might see this tweet has been deleted, because Pokimane deleted her post in disgrace, and, well, it's mainly because people were clowning on her, but don't worry, Ludwig, of all people, Nellywig, would have something to say. He is defending Thy Lady. He comes in responding to an XQC response, where XQC said, "Daily reminder that I was doing GTA roleplay by day, slots by night, in my quarter of streaming until everyone, her, farmed me and Trainwrecks TV for drama and clicks. Miss me with that energy. Walk the walk." And Ludwig said, "You can reply to your post directly. It's on the same website." Where XQC would say, "Also, I just read this again, and what the F are you even saying? People know where I stand on everything, always. Do you think she doesn't know that's how I view things? Pick unrelated." This is the composition of Ludwig's spine, in case you're confused. But Ludwig would say, "Yeah, just say it to her instead of replying to Fearbuck. You are 30 years old, learning how to grow a spine from Jellywig." First of all, isn't Pokimane like 30 years old? So like, what are you talking? First of all, when did 30 years old become like an insult? Is that really that old? It's a bit weird. But anyways, internet user Jacob would say, "Not sure this is the best career decision, Letty boy." And Ludwig, in ratio, would say, "It's Twitter. Nothing that happens on this website matters. We both going live tomorrow to stream video games to thousands of people. Just enjoy your time on the spinning rock, man." And Frederick Douglas, Twitter user Frederick Douglas, coming in with the massive ratio on Ludwig, saying, "Speaking about spineless, how does Hassan's shock collar feel? Oh, but you can't get offended. Just enjoy your time on the spinning rock." And Ludwig says, "Should have left it in the drafts, Fred." I disagree. Frederick Douglas destroyed you, Jellywig, pretty impressively. And Frederick Douglas responds by saying, like, how Mogul Mail got left in the drafts after Hassan made the boss call. And that's right, because Ludwig's main channel, Mogul Mail, stopped making videos almost entirely after he made a piece where he made a small jab at Hassan, who, by the way, the related comment was because Hassan said that streaming is harder than a 90 block, and Ludwig took a shot at the guy, and Ludwig got the boss call. Hassan said, "How dare you? How dare you, sir?" But anyways, back on the leash, boy. That's right, Ludwig, you have no room to be calling anyone spineless, alright? Now, of course, continue with Pokimane. She gave some advice on how to handle breaks and some stills from this clip for making the rap. You'll see that.
And it's not video games. I actually, throughout my whole life, whether it's a boy in high school or a boy now, I have one major tip, and it's a bit more of a psychological tip. It's not like a, focus on your tone. Everybody hears that. Okay. Let me tell you a tip that, like, you're gonna feel like your mind controlling yourself. Okay? It's a practice called noting. And basically what it means is you want to go through a breakup and like you can't stop thinking about that. I'm so stressed, and I wish this, and I wish that, and I wish I did this, and I wish they did that, and blah, 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 blah. As soon as you feel good about yourself, as soon as you laugh, as soon as something good happens, take notes. Like literally think to yourself, like, oh, I just laughed, and for the last 5 minutes, I had all the funny TikToks, and I didn't think of them. Like think really hard, like, oh wow, that happened, and I forgot about it. And something about that just solidifies like this new mindset of yours, and I find that works so well. And then you'll keep going back to this place, and you know, I'm like, wait, I can feel better. Wait, I can laugh. Wait, I can be happy. I can be better. And then you know it, there's no build moment.
Oh no, Pokimane, don't do it! Yeah, people are clowning on her, nuts saying, unmarried, 30-year-old, virtue-signaling, multi-millionaire streamer woman who's been through messy relationship drama with other streamers gives breakup advice to her audience of desperately lonely 17-year-old boys. Noted. Advice about relationships on people who are married or have been in a relationship longer than your last stream should be ignored like the plague on steroids. 30-year-old talking like she's 14. Oh, jeez. Pokimane giving breakup advice. Yeah, you get the point, okay? Pokimane is getting dunked on. Very rightly so. I want to take a little turn of events here, something a little more serious. In case you have not seen, Brandon Buckingham is a YouTuber I used to really enjoy his content. He's not right now. If you're not the brain type, that's fine. But if you are, say a prayer for Brandon Buckingham. He's in really good shape. Something very serious over there. Heart, lung, liver, kidney failure. Like, he's really not doing well. So if you want to say a prayer for this guy, he's really struggling. It doesn't look great. I hope him a very speedy recovery, but it doesn't look great for the guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. I hope a very speedy recovery for him, and yeah, if you're the praying type, say something for Brandon. He's clearly going through a lot right now. But anyways, that's a little turnaround from the video where we're making Pokimane, but anyways, that's going to do this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below.
You have any idea you almost lost your life?
Welcome to 21 Earth. We'll fight injustice and help the weak together.
You've got spirit. That's not something Han touched.
The one without looking back. I don't want to live with regret on Heaven's Pier is where I grew up.
I regret it. I regret it, okay? To hell with the jungle.
Has 16 years gone by that fast?
Welcome, travelers, to the stories of where winds meet. I've never found it harder to choose how to begin, and even harder to decide where to stop. Qinghe, a land caught between history and legend, holds two intertwined stories. One of the old fledgling Jianghu wanderer, and another of Tianyin, the legendary hero, whispered in side stories and carried by the words of wandering beasts. Nestled between the 16 prefectures of China, the central territory ruled by the Zhou dynasty, Qinghe has long been a crossroads of conflict. In 1938, the 16th king proceeded to the northern Liao dynasty, and meant to flee south into Qinghe. As a middle region, it has witnessed countless raids, battles, and the rise and fall of dynasties, a land forged by conflict and the footsteps of those brave enough to walk the Jianghu. Your journey begins in peace, as the young master of the blissful retreat inn, though even you do not know your true origin. You were taken in as an infant by Uncle Jiang Yan, raised beneath his quiet guidance, and cared for by Han Xiangshen, the inn's owner and your adopted mother. 3 years ago, Uncle John left the inn in secret after receiving a mysterious letter.
A letter to Uncle John from someone named Wei.
The letter spoke of the Dream Puppet Calamity, a zombie-like plague was spreading in the Jiangnan Kingdom, also known as Southern Tang. The man who sent the letter was later revealed to be Wei Daoji. The prime minister of the later Zhou dynasty requested Uncle John to travel to Southern Tang to assist Tianyin. Since that day, no word of him has returned. It is now the year 962, and at 16, you help Han prepare the famed annual First Drawback, a bunch of drunk wanderers, swordsmen, merchants, and drifters from across the jungle. Blissful Retreat is renowned for its legendary wine, Party Tears, a brew so exquisite even the moment struggle to find tea. Yet despite this peaceful, the restless spirit burns within.
Only I could go to the jungle and learn martial arts. I'd be looking for swords.
Jianghu. All you ever talk about is the Jianghu. Yammering about it for a decade.
Sharing that same spark with her childhood friend Ruby, the 10-year-old daughter of Uncle John, begins royal life.
This is so lovely. This. Well, you can have it.
You greedy little thing. Go on, take it.
Your adopted mother, Han Xiangshen, lives her life as a simple innkeeper on the surface. But beneath that gentle exterior lies the past of a patriot of the Jiaohu, once known as Water Lady, a master of disguise with the rare ability to alter another person's face.
You all seem to know me. Is it because you know Aunt Han?
It is. Of course, the Water Lady hasn't told you. You should ask her yourself someday.
She was not only skilled in martial arts, but also trained as a physician, working alongside the Tian, a woman who always disguised herself as a man, wearing a modest talent. Together, the two of them operate a hidden secret chamber beneath the house, exchanging services that bring in vast amounts of gold. But this business is not merely for wealth. It is tied to an operation that began more than 10 years ago. The underground chamber was originally a resistance hideout, a gathering place for patriots of Qinghe, heroes and martial artists who devoted their lives to reclaiming their ancestral lands lost to the Khitans. Ancient manuals and forbidden martial techniques still rest on the stone shelves, remnants of those turbulent years. To become spies capable of infiltrating enemy territory, many of these heroes voluntarily changed their appearance, abandoning their former names, faces, and even identities.
What's there to fear? For the sake of reclaiming the 16 prefectures, I don't fear death, let alone losing my face. I fear not death, much less a mere face.
How much longer must we wait?
How much longer can we wait?
Can't go out. Can't go back.
But not all transformations were successful. Some underwent flawed procedures, leaving their faces twisted or unstable. Rather than risk exposing the entire network, they chose to hide underground indefinitely, preserving the Resistance's greatest secret with their silence. When you descend into this hidden chamber for the first time, you see them, figures wrapped entirely in bandages, lingering in the dim light like ghosts between life and duty. A few even recognize you, meaning they were once ordinary people of Qinghe before sacrificing everything. They have remained here for years, waiting for the day their homeland is reclaimed. Among the items safeguarded in the chamber is a secret list, the true identities of every spy whose face has been altered, a document so dangerous that even the slightest leak could bring disaster upon countless lives. It is this list that draws enemies to Blissful Retreat, those who seek to uncover, capture, or silence Aunt Han and everyone connected to her. At this time, we encounter the Jianghu Wanderer everyone in Qinghe has been whispering, the man known as Killer Wu Dao. He has come looking for Aunt Han. From the beginning, you distrust him. A stranger searching for your adopted mother is rarely a good sign, so you try every trick you can think of to mislead him, to prevent him from finding you. But you are still a fresh-faced novice in the Jianghu, while he is a seasoned predator. Your misdirection only amuses him.
So this is Han Zhangxun's room.
It's you! How long have you been following me? No. You want to let me think I escaped?
Despite this rough start, the two of you soon end up investigating the strange bandits lingering around Heaven's Pool. Several times, Yu Dao pulls you out of danger with reckless deeds. It is he who first identified the origin of these intruders, the Orient Pavilion, an underground organization from the Jiangnan Kingdom. Upon discovering that the bandits belong to the Orient Pavilion, the encounter escalates quickly. Among them appear the Horse Galant, once a companion of Beard Guang's caravan. You engage in battle and manage to strike it down, but the fight is far from over. To your shock, the Horse Dancer feeds the creature a strange food. Almost immediately, it returns to life. A grim reminder of the dream of the calamity mentioned in the letter Uncle Jiang received years ago. The plague, or something like it, has resurfaced, now in an unnatural, living form. It is at this moment that Aunt Han's true Jianghu prowess is revealed. Precision and deadly grace, her flying dagger slices through the undead beast, ending the threat with a single, decisive strike. The past of the martial arts master, long hidden beneath the guise of India, is undeniable. Later, thanks to Beard Guang's observations, you learn more. The Horse Dancer had been traveling with a mysterious woman, suggesting a larger, more dangerous plot, one that may be connected to the Orient Pavilion's true purpose of Qinghe. Only later do we learn the real reason Yu Dao came. He was sent by Chu Qingchuan, Aunt Han's former lover, to look for her and for Uncle Jiang's secret before Qing disappeared. Both Chu Qingchuan and Uncle Jiang Yan once belonged to the Well of Heaven's Side, and perhaps the three of them shared knowledge of the truth.
He can't come.
Too ashamed to face me. Or is it that those fools at Well of Heaven?
He's not at Will of Heaven. He went some time ago to Blackwater City.
Blackwater City? Didn't you say everyone there was dead?
Yes.
So, he won't be coming anymore.
When Yu Dao finally speaks with him, he reveals what she had been fearing. Chu Qingchuan was lost in Blackwater City. No one who entered that fifth city survived. Aunt Han forces herself to act quickly, but the tremor in her breath betrays the truth. She instructs Uncle Zhang to pour out every jar of parting tears she had saved for the shoot. One jar from each first jar banquet since he left. She had kept them for his return. Now she accepts that he likely never will. Beneath the secret chamber, rows upon rows of jars remain sealed, like echoes of promises and memories. A hall of 100 candles burns for patriotic spies who never return. Even Uncle Jiang has his own jar, preserved with a teasing memory. He had borrowed a pendant from Aunt Han, and joked that if he never liquidated it, she would be forced to raise the infant, you, until adulthood. She shot back with, in your dreams, but her actions over the years reveal the truth behind her sharp tongue. Beneath her blunt exterior, Aunt Han is a woman of deep loyalty and deeper regrets. She failed to keep the man she loved. 3 years ago, she and Chu Qingchuan parted not in peace, but in conflict. They were both heroes fighting the Khitans, but at the Peace Bell Tower, something fractured between them. The giant bell still bears the scars of their quarrel, and countless of Aunt Han's flying daggers embedded in its surface. Some say their fight arose because Chu wished for her to change his face so he could infiltrate the Khitan Empire, a mission entangled with a greater plot connected to Tianyin. But how could she possibly agree? Altering a lover's face was no different from losing him forever.
Your face determines your fate. Another face, another fate. Don't go.
With the Orient Pavilion prowling around Qinghe, Aunt Han finally announces that the Blissful Retreat will relocate immediately after the banquet. She had planned this for a long time, knowing that the secret chamber would one day attract ill intent. A place like this cannot remain hidden forever. Yet she delayed, because some part of her still hoped that those who left in the past might one day return.
If all the way to the jungle, he will end up dying in the jungle. Do you want to be like him without even suffer great?
He died without a single regret. He went without looking back. Don't want to lose his regret, Aunt Han. Heaven's here is where I grew up.
I regret it. I regret it, okay? You shouldn't have let him go. What good does a lifetime of regret do for me now? We leave tomorrow morning. All of us. I found a place where no one can find us, and no one can leave.
This grim news makes Aunt Han even more determined to crush your Jianghu dreams, so you make your choice, and you will leave quietly with Yu Dao. From a cunning Jianghu veteran who outsmarted you at every turn, to the man who saved your life more than once, you can't pinpoint when your fear turned into trust. At some moment between rage and danger, Yu Dao began to feel like an older brother you never had. And as always, Ruby arrives like a burst of sunlight.
Ha! You villain! You've done terrible things! And today, I, Heroine Ruby, will serve justice! How's that? Cool, right? Just like in the storybooks!
Her lively excitement about the Jianghu never fades. Yet she is still just a child, and you know you cannot bring her into the storm awaiting you. You must find a way to comfort her, something that doesn't break her heart completely. So you take her to meet Yu Dao, perfect embodiment of the Jianghu wanderer she reads about in her storybooks. Their playful banter is almost comical. Ruby's quick wit matches even his hardened swordsman. Moved by her spirit, Yu Dao gives her his horse. Delighted, she names it Cliff, and you add to her joy by giving her a flowing red cape, something a young heroine might wear. When you finally reveal your plan to travel to Jianghu with Yu Dao, Ruby's smile dims for a moment, but with the free, unburdened heart of a child, she accepts your decision. Soon she is laughing again, red cape fluttering behind her, her own little dream of heroism. And for a brief moment before everything falls apart, it feels like happiness might last a little longer. The final night you spend in your childhood home before following Yu Dao's life on, he shares the story of Chu Qingchuan. He tells you that Chu once saved Yu Dao's life, despite being the kind of fool who always tried to save everyone. Badly wounded in Blackwater City, Chu was carried out on Yu Dao's back. But while crossing the Yellow River, the trap holding him broke, and Chu Qingchuan fell into the waters. In the Jianghu, such a fate is never certain. If the body is unseen, one cannot confirm death. At that very moment, the Ori Pavilion launches their attack on Coach Yi Dao types who have lingered around Qinghe, whom you have encountered before, now make their final move. Their target is nothing less than Aunt Han's secret list of spies. Leading the invasion is Qianye, the beautiful woman you first met at the inn, revealed to be the enchantress of the Orient Pavilion. Chaos erupts. Uncle Joe, Ruby's father, is killed without warning. You rush to intervene, but Yi Dao stops you. A veteran of countless battles, he knows well that your lack of martial arts skill would make any attempt at heroism suicide. Yet your determination reminds him of Chu Chin Chuan. Seeing that same spirit in you, Yi Dao finally chooses to step in and help, despite the odds stacked against you. But youth often pays a heavy price for its hot-blooded. You and Yi Dao manage to rescue Ruby and a few others. Yet Heaven's Peer is already under a devastating spell, an array that creates multiple illusions of the blissful retreat, trapping everyone inside, disoriented and unable to escape. The only way out is to be guided from a high vantage point. Ruby, determined and fearless, volunteers to slip through a narrow gap under Sweetwine Tower and navigate a hidden tunnel that leads toward Moonveil Mountain. But as Yi Dao had warned, the Jiaohu is not the storybook world she imagines. Knowing her impulsive nature, you ask Beard Guang to tie her hands, keeping her in check while you continue to hold back the enemies. Suddenly, a flash of familiar red cape catches your eye atop Moonveil Mountain. Ruby has broken free and is following her plan. Her boundless courage mirrors your own, but her heroism is reckless. The signal she inadvertently gives is also visible to the enemy. A rain of arrows rains down on the red cape. First volley of arrows push the red cape down, but just as quickly it rose again.
Ruby! Hold up while you can, but who will you catch? Tying it up now.
You charge toward her, but Qianye steps into your path. She wears Aunt Han's face. Yi Dao's warning echoes in your mind. This woman can change her appearance too, preying on emotions by wearing the faces of those her victims love. Caught in her illusion, you see two forms, one showing her true face, the other bearing Aunt Han's features, yet carrying the frame of a man, hinting at a secret tied to Aunt Han's long-dead twin brother. There's a reason why Aunt Han went to visit her brother's grave right after first meeting Qianye.
Incense and spirit money? Is Aunt Han visiting her brother's grave again? Aunt Han, here to see your little brother again?
We are leaving soon, so I want to spend a little more time with him.
You and Yi Dao carve through wave after wave of Orient Pavilion fighters, but more spill from Qianye's portal. Wounded and exhausted, realizing the end is near, surrounded by hundreds of precious decade-aged jars of hardened tears, you turn to Yi Dao and offer him a drink. A final toast of brotherhood, of wandering souls, and a farewell.
You haven't seen the jungle yet. Cut it now.
I have seen it. You're switching red. Still sure. Is that not the jungle?
Your childhood, your beloved home, your friends, all of it slipped away that day, gone with the parting tears. Days later, you awaken. Clip-Clop survived, rescued by a passing caravan, but everything else has changed. You make your way to Yi Dao's grave, the soil still fresh. Across Heaven's Pier, survivors mourn their loved ones, tending wounds that cut far deeper than flesh. You hear whispers, stories dripping through Qinghe, stories of the blissful retreat, stories of the brave young master who fought to the last breath, stories of little Ruby, a tiny heroine beneath the fluttering red cape. In the Jianghu, such tales are born from tragedy. Through generations of war and chaos, dynasties fall and empires shift. Yet the spirits of those who choose righteousness never fade. This is Jianghu. It is not the sparring matches at the General Shrine. It is not the stories and books. It is blood and fire, tears and rain. You survive. But the world will never again recognize you as the young master of the blissful retreat. That identity died with the inn. From now on, you will walk the Jianghu behind a mask. A newcomer. A nameless blade. You carry Yi Dao's great blade on your back. For he never lived to see credit. You tie Ruby's red thread around your wrist, for she never got to witness the Jianghu she dreamed of. You will do it all for them. But young master, your story is only one among countless others carried by the winds of Qinghe. And among those tales, there is one name whispered more than any other. A man who wore not just one but many masks. A man who slew not only the wicked, but the righteous as well. A man who carried more sins than anyone's soul should bear, yet cared nothing for judgment. For he lived for a single, unshakable idea, to reclaim his homeland for its people. Qianye. We will uncover his story in the next chapter.
Valve Software. You know Valve. They made Portal 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Hat Simulator 2, Dota 2, Half-Life 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2, Alex. And most recently, Deadlock. Not 2. Yet. But all those games, not to mention Steam and Valve itself, wouldn't be around if it wasn't for a very unique man. A man who lacks some basic numerical knowledge between 2 and 4.
Triple 3 as in you've killed 3 heroes.
I don't understand.
Yet is hailed by many as a genius. A man named Gabe Logan Newell. Gabe Newell has been in the industry for a while now, and he's been called many things. Game developer, tech mogul, multi-billionaire, part-time Ringo, handsome with a charming personality, and my personal favorite,
G-Fat.
But more than any of those, people usually just call him Gaben.
I can be reached at gaben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
The basic knowledge most people have on Gaben is this, right? He's the Valve head honcho, he's a big fat guy, and he gives me big fat Steam sales. Well, first of all, not not fat anymore. Way to go, Gabe Ben. Looking good, my man. But secondly, although those other two things are true, they're not the whole picture. As I'm sure many of you did, I grew up playing Valve games. I would see memes of Gabe everywhere on the internet and had that same surface level knowledge. But recently I started thinking, I want to know more. More than just the Gabe can't count to 3 jokes. I wanted to know just who is Gabe Ben. I seek to answer that question in this video as best as I can because I've done a lot of reading, a lot of listening,
Can't make leather out of freaking.
Absolutely true.
and a lot of watching interviews, and I want to share the best, most interesting parts of Gabe's story with all of you. Just like in my last video, I'm going to do my best to cover it from start to finish. And by the way, let me know your recommendations for other devs that I should cover in the future down below. There were a lot of great suggestions on the last video, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. There were also a lot of suggestions for what the title of this series should be called, although they varied wildly in quality. Keep it up, fellas. Real proud of you. I might just change the name of it every video. We'll see. Anyway, I'm Varrock, and I'd like to welcome you to this game dev documentary. A Varrockumentary, if you will, on Gabe Newell. I want to tell you how Gabe got his start, becoming a millionaire before Gordon Freeman was even a twinkle in his eye. I want to tell you about how Doom heavily influenced Gabe and Valve as a whole. And if you stick around to the end, you'll get to hear about the weird things that Gabe has invested his billions into. It ranges from literal science fiction to charity to webcomic patronage. You're gonna want to hear about it. So sit back, relax, get a drink, and enjoy as I spin you the tale of the legendary Gabe Newell. First, a quick message. Thank you to today's sponsor, World of Warships. World of Warships is a highly detailed game with a highly active community that made me realize I am highly bad at boat warfare. You give me a boat, I just want to ram people. It's a terrible strategy. God, it feels good. See all these guns? Interest in computers. Gabe would attend Davis Senior High School in California, graduating in 1980. He evidently performed quite well in school because he would then go on to become a freshman at one of the country's most prestigious universities, Harvard. Harvard served Gabe adequately well for about 3 years, from 1980 to 1983. No, I'm not doing the 3 thing on purpose, it really was 3 years. Anyway, it's 1983, and the young adult Gabe Ben takes some time off from his studies to visit his brother, who got a job in Seattle, Washington, at this quickly rising tech company called Microsoft. For context, Microsoft had been in business at this point in time for about 8 years with under 300 employees. They weren't the behemoth that they are today, but they were doing well for themselves, making bank on their MS-DOS operating system royalties with big dreams of expansion. According to InfoWorld around this time, quote, some insiders say Microsoft is attempting to be the IBM of the software industry. IBM was the big dog at the time, so to put it in modern parlance, this was a big freaking deal. There's enough history there for its own video, but for now, all you need to know is this. Microsoft was relatively small, growing fast, very profitable, and filled with talented people for a young Gabe Newell to learn as much as he could from soon enough. But he would have to get there first. So Gabe packed up all the things he needed to go visit his brother. He had no intention of working for Microsoft at that point in time. All he knew was that he wanted to spend time with his brother and see the sights in Seattle. You know, the Space Needle and the homeless people and whatever. Turns out, though, brother Newell wasn't down to gallivant around town. Mr. Gates wasn't letting him off the hook that easy. He had to go work. But that wasn't so bad as far as Gabe was concerned. He just figured, well, I'm already here. I want to spend time with my brother. I like computers and don't mind being around a bunch of sweaty nerds all day. Why don't I just hang out with him at work? So that's exactly what he did. Gabe Newell hung out around the Microsoft offices with his brother. Now, I don't know what Gabe was getting up to, but apparently it annoyed the hell out of Steve Ballmer. For those of you who aren't familiar, Steve Ballmer was a big figure at Microsoft, head of sales at the time in 1983, and well known for publicly yelling and sweating a lot.
Developers, 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 developers.
He would even be CEO of the company later from 2000 to 2014. Here's some clips from my favorite video of him ever made.
How much do you think this advanced operating environment is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Now we can take this Ferrari. Reverse. No, it's just $99. That's right. It's Windows from Microsoft. Order today. P.O. Box 286 DOS. Except in Nebraska.
I never get tired of that video. It's just the way he says everything. This Ferrari. No, it's only $99. Anyway, like I was saying, Gabe hanging around the offices all day was annoying the hell out of Steve Ballmer. It got to the point where Ballmer finally said to him, if you're gonna take up space around here all day, you might as well be productive. Drop out of Harvard right now, Gabe Newell, and get to work on Windows! Okay, he may not have said that last part word for word, but that was basically the idea. And Gabe actually found that idea somewhat appealing. After all, he liked computers, and he was interested in software development, and Harvard wasn't really providing what he was looking for at that point. So Gabe would hang around their offices for another 3 months, this time while trying to be productive, trying to learn and be useful. Gabe would go on to describe those 3 months as being an extremely educational experience for him. More than his university could provide. Not to bang on Harvard, but I learned more in 3 months with those guys at Microsoft than I did the entire time I was at Harvard. At Harvard, I learned how to drink beer while doing a headstand in the snow, which, you know, is a useful skill, but not nearly as useful as how to actually develop software.
At Harvard, I learned how to drink beer while doing a headstand in the snow. So, which, you know, is a useful skill, but not nearly as useful as how to actually develop software.
So Gabe soaked up all the knowledge he could from the likes of Tom Corbett, Neil Konzen, and Steve Wood, describing it as the most intense and valuable educational experience I've ever had. And apparently, after those 3 months, Ballmer's words must have rang true to Gabe. He was convinced. He said, screw it, I'm dropping out, and was officially given a job at Microsoft, becoming their 271st employee. You might be thinking that's a bit of a bold decision, dropping out of one of the most prestigious universities after 3 years there, but it also fit the theme for that particular company. After all, Microsoft was founded by a couple of college dropouts, Bill Gates specifically being a Harvard dropout himself. Granted, Bill dropped out only after a few months, and Gabe did after investing several years, but obviously I think it worked out all right for him considering he's a multi-billionaire now. Remember though, kids, stay in school, because dropping out is not typically a pipeline to fame and fortune. That is, of course, unless you're Gabe Newell, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Steven Spielberg, Oprah Winfrey, Mark Zuckerberg, Michael Dell, Steve Wozniak, Brad Pitt, Lady Gaga, Eddie Murphy, Sean Diddy. No, wait, fuck, go back. Anyway, despite these strange ways he entered into life, Gabe was a highly valuable member of Congress. He held a variety of roles and worked on many different projects during his time at Microsoft, including working on their brand spanking new Windows operating system. Look, it has a graphical user interface. You get this new little thing called a mouse. Nobody likes the mouse, it's stupid, and it'll probably never catch on. An Easter egg in the code. It was encrypted and hidden in the file, so it wasn't discovered until very recently. Check it out. Extremely hard work. He even earned a Advanced sleeping bag from work so that he could code around the clock for an entire month. With all this work, Gabe would be involved in the first couple releases of Windows. The whole thing on different projects at the company from 1983 to 1996. It was 13 long and lucrative years for David, for everyone involved. And when I say lucrative, I mean loads of money. I'm talking your coworkers are deciding on a whim to buy a farm or a bowling alley, or they're showing up in a new sports car. I'll tell you a little bit about the Microsoft millionaire. Jump back in time for a second, it's 1986. Gabe's been working for Microsoft for 3 years now, and the company is making the big decision to go public. This means Microsoft stocks are now up for grabs. But this also means that Bill Gates gave stock options to his employees as compensation for all the extreme overtime they've been cramming. Employees like Madman Newell. What would happen next was described by many Microsoft employees as akin to winning the lottery, because the stock saw a sharp increase the very day that it went public. But that was nothing compared to what it would do for those who were patient. Over the next 10 years, Microsoft stock would grow in value nearly 100 times over. It's estimated that Microsoft created approximately 10,000 millionaires by the year 2000 because of this. Not everyone who got stock options sold them at the same time, of course, so obviously some made more than others depending on their luck and their patience. But those who cashed out big were going nuts with it. They were buying sports leagues and restaurants, because that's what you do when you're a programming nerd that suddenly has more money than you know what to do with. Others decided to get into philanthropy or activism. And of course, there were those who decided to start their own company with varying levels of success, ranging from sweet, I achieved my dream, now I have even more money. Please, Mr. Gates, have my job back. It's not known exactly what Gates gained from all this, but folks did well enough that he could take the funding and build a studio one day if he wanted to. Now, he just needs to do it. So, what would it take to sow the seeds of inspiration for David? How about a game where you rip apart the chainsaw? How about playing it in the morning? It's my back. Doom, the original one, from 1993, made by id Software. Doom was the inspirational push that got Gabe thinking, wow, you can do this with video games? You can make people react, make them have fun, even make you feel scared? Soon, Gabe was winning Doom and Microsoft offices on laptops, showing it off to anyone that he could. Saying, look what PC games can do. This is a lot better than the best ever said it. Turns out, he wasn't really excited about it. Two things happened after it. One, Microsoft wanted a Windows port in Doom. Most people, they were playing PC games and were playing them on DOS, not Windows. Microsoft was going to change that. So, according to several interviews, he called up John Hartman of Software. I'm going to paraphrase Dave's recollection of how that phone call went and embellish it a bit. Hey, Johnny! Johnny C! Dave said calmly. I know you hate Microsoft and you think we're stuffy and all that, but listen, I'm built different. What if we made a full up for you for free? You get the phone and keep on profit, we get the proof that Windows is run for you. John Carmack heard all of that and said, yeah, okay, alright. Here's them the source code. Long story short, bada bing, bada boom, Gabe's win showed up at the Computer Game Development Conference in 1994. It was through this portal important connection for his family. More on that. That's the things that happen. Thing number two, Microsoft is making a struggle. Around the same time as doing Windows 4 projects going on. Because they want to find out, are our sales numbers as good as we think they are? Are people adapting to our Windows software when they buy a computer it comes packaged with, or are they uninstalling Windows the moment after unboxing their PC? Well, the results were a bit surprising for Microsoft. The good news for them was that people really were adopting Windows. According to the study that they commissioned, Windows was at the number 2 spot for all software downloaded to people's computers. You may say, number 2? Well, yeah, but number 2 out of all software possible is still pretty good. That was a good sign. However, the bad news was that number 1 spot, it wasn't a different Microsoft product, and it wasn't Apple, and it wasn't IBM or some other big software giant. The most popular thing found on people's computers in 1995 was porn and video games.
Well, it turns out they're using them for porn and video games.
Now look, I don't know what people were spanking it to specifically, but I can tell you the video game. And hopefully the video game was not also the subject of the spanking. You never know. You can take a wild guess what it was, though. The video game was Doom, baby! The results of this study lit a fire under Microsoft to really get that port complete. Teams shifted around, and Microsoft would eventually release a Windows port. Doom 95 with DirectX by way of Alex St. John. The study also lit a fire specifically under Bill Gates, who once ran the idea by Alex St. John of buying out id Software entirely. Because that's what you do when you have that kind of money. These people are annoying me. Maybe I should purchase them. Of course, the guys at id Software would never allow Microsoft to buy them. Now, ZeniMax Media buying them in 2009, that's fine. Then Microsoft would buy ZeniMax 10 years later. Welcome to Xbox, boys. Story for another time. Anyway, back to Gabe and Doom. The results of this study were shocking. And where Bill Gates would consider simply buying out id Software, Gabe Newell was more interested in learning from them.
So somehow, the largest software company in the world was being out-distributed by a 12-person company in Mesquite, Texas. And there was no conception, there's no model for why this made any sense. How could they possibly have done that, right?
He needed to learn more. What was happening here? Well, he learned for one thing that id did not require a huge sales team like Microsoft was so concerned about. They relied on a vastly different method of selling their product. One that Gabe preferred over his own companies. A method that was much more direct. What the guys at id decided on was that they would sell the game directly to the customer. They only bought one ad for the game, figuring the mainstream press wasn't interested in them anyway. They focused instead on leveraging something called shareware, which in 1995 was basically the fancy word for a demo. They'd go to stores with their shareware version of Doom, which only had the first episode levels on it, and they would say, you sell this to people for literally any price you want, we don't care. Because what they were relying on was that people would play the shareware version and want to play the full game after it's done. If they wanted the full game, they'd need to buy it directly from id Software. It's great from developer to customer. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? This directness from developers was something that obviously inspired. This was the polar opposite of Microsoft. Microsoft's model was all about dealing with resellers, middlemen, people who would come to Microsoft and literally buy a pallet full of Microsoft product and say, thanks for selling it to me, now I'm going to sell this to other stores that will sell it to other people. It's an indirect model, developer to reseller to source, a model that almost couldn't be more because at the same time that Doom was enjoying that same popularity with its more direct model, Gabe recalls that arguments were being had at Microsoft about how to better do sales, not to make it more direct though. The argument being had was Gabe at Microsoft at the time about if they were resellers or not, or just how big of a sales team they needed to have with resellers. Perhaps a 500-person sales team to work with resellers. Gabe did not like how this connected Microsoft and at this point he was doubting whether he stayed at Microsoft from a form. This was about the transition from a cool, agile software company that was whipping IBM's butt to evil empire status. So working on games kept sounding more and more attractive. Gabe was ready. He had ideas about how he could do things better, but he can't do these things alone. It would take a couple talented fellow Microsoft employees to help him make the final push. Enter the twin Michaels! Specifically, Mike Harrington and Michael Abrash. Mike Harrington, like Gabe, was also starting to get tired of Microsoft and was lucky enough to have stock options to fund his exit. But where Mike saw his peers blowing their stock option wads on retirement with a sports league or a farm, he wanted something else. He wanted to make games. So Mike asked around Microsoft's offices to see if anyone else was down for leaving and starting a game studio. But most people he spoke to, unfortunately, weren't interested. That is, except for Gabe Newell. Apparently, they meshed together quite well, and quite quickly, because the story of how they partnered up is short. It happened like this, right? And I'm only slightly embellishing here. Gabe is eating lunch, scratching his chin, thinking, 3D action game. Mike sits down next to him, says, video game? And Gabe says, yes! And thus the future Valve co-founders became a team. They needed one more connection to make things work, though. This is where the other Michael would come into play. Michael Abrash, a talented man, friend to Gabe and Mike, programming hero of John Carmack, and fellow Microsoft employee. That is, until he left Microsoft, much to the chagrin of Bill Gates, to go work at id Software. According to Gabe, Abrash kept telling Mike Harrington and I how cool working on games was. Gabe and Mike were periodically getting hit up by Abrash just so that he could say, hey, you guys should stop working at Microsoft and start a games company. And they took him up on it. They didn't really need much more encouragement than that. Abrash loved telling them specifically about the new and tasty game engine that he was working on, called the Quake engine. Abrash was highly confident in his work on this engine, going as far as saying that Quake will be the worst game done on the Quake engine. And he liked Quake. That's just the level of potential Abrash felt that the engine had. So much so that he suggested Gabe and Mike license the engine for their own uses. You guys want to make a video game? I think this is the best engine for the job. Come to id Software and get it. Evidently, they agreed, because they'd soon hit the road to go visit id's studio in Texas. The goal of this visit was twofold: to get the Quake engine licensed for their potential first video game, of course, but also to learn some tips about what the hell they were even doing in making a video game. The future Valve boys knew that they wanted to make a 3D action game, and they were both veterans of the software industry, but just because you're a computer engineer doesn't mean that you actually know how to make a compelling video game. They needed to learn from the best, and at the time, who better to ask than the guys who made the #1 software beating Windows? Only problem, id Software did not particularly like Microsoft. They'd take a deal where their game gets ported for free and they get to keep all the profit. Sure, who wouldn't? They'd poach Microsoft's programmers if they really respected the individual, like Michael Abrash. Sure, but they weren't keen on a couple of Microsoft guys taking their game engine to go make something with it. id basically considered themselves the total opposite of Microsoft philosophically. It's 1996, Microsoft is a software giant eating up the entire market, and we're id Software. We're the rebels, the guys sticking it to the man with our subversive, gory video games. It would take mediator Michael Abrash to make the meeting work. As an ex-Microsoft employee himself, he was willing to vouch in favor of Gabe and Mike, and the guys at id apparently listened. So after Abrash succeeded that persuasion check, the future Valve boys would make their way to id's Texas studio. Apparently, the arrival of Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington was met with brutal unenthusiasm from the id Software team. That is, from everyone except for their one friend, Michael Abrash, who remembers the event like this. Quote, I don't recall that when they came down to id, there was a lot of great chemistry. Let's put it this way. It wasn't like when 9 Inch Nails came to visit. That was a cool thing. These were the guys that worked on stuff like Microsoft Bob and home automation. You're not going to walk into the coolest game company on the face of the earth and have the guys say, wow, nice to hang out with you. Abrash recalls that he was essentially the only one at id Software who had any optimism in what Gabe and Mike were going to do with the Quake engine. But the future Valve co-founders were able to put that tension aside and get what they needed. They spoke with John Romero, got some vital tips about how to start a game development company, left with the source code of Quake on a CD before they even officially licensed the engine thanks to Abrash, and they left with a mission to make their own original video game. They were ready to prove that their success wasn't just piggybacking off of Microsoft or anybody else, that they could build something themselves from the ground up. So they quit their safe, stable corporate jobs, and that year, August 24th of 1996, on the same day that Gabe gets married, because we have to make all of our huge life changes at the same time, Gabe and Mike would officially co-found their new game development company together. They threw some different names around for it at first. They wanted something weird, because every 3D action shooter of the time had sort of a meathead vibe going on. Not that that doesn't have its place, they both like Doom, but they wanted their company name to stand out in that crowd. Initially, they thought they might call their company Holobots, but of course, they would settle on the name that everyone knows them as today. Now they just needed to make a game. Valve's first game would be called Half-Life. But before it would be called Half-Life, it would be called Quiver. And before it would be called Quiver, it was called, oh shit, we don't have anybody who knows how to make video games. Get on the phone and call everybody Microsoft. So the boys did a lot of elevator pitching to their former coworkers. Hey, we're making a game. We're stepping out on our own. This will be an amazing opportunity. You guys want in? And they received mild success in doing this.
Some of the people that we thought were going to join us at the beginning didn't. You know, we were like, let's go, let's storm the castle. And then it was like, where'd everybody go?
But hey, some success is better than none. It wasn't as many people joining as they had hoped, but they did manage to convince a few other people at Microsoft to come with them. Gabe, Mike, and these new ex-Microsoft pals all had useful computer knowledge of some sort, but just because you know how to code doesn't mean that you know how to make a good level or create a good monster for your game. Fortunately, they were able to round out their team with some hires from other game companies, like Harry E. Teasley, artist and designer at Shiny Entertainment, or Chuck Jones, artist who had just recently worked on Duke Nukem 3D at 3D Realms. Fun fact, this artist would also later work on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Okay, now they had some experienced gaming knowledge in-house. Good, but not quite enough to make a full team. This is when Gabe remembered to reach into his back pocket for the list of tips that John Romero gave him. The only thing written on the piece of paper said, always put a giant, fully modeled insert of your own head into your video game. People love it. It works every time. And Gabe said, no, wait, hold on. This is the wrong one. And then he pulled out the other piece of paper that John Romero gave him. This piece of paper had a list of names on it. These were the names of people that were making waves in the Quake modding scene. People that were talented and creative, but would never normally be sought after by most major software companies at the time. Mostly, they were just young guys who were dicking around with video games in their free time and had no idea that they were about to receive an email from a millionaire in Seattle offering them a job. Location? Florida. Steve Bond and John Guthrie are making Quake mods and managing a fan site called Quake Command in their spare time. That is, when they're not delivering pizzas, going to classes, or parrying chairs as the manager of the local Waffle House.
The creature designer for most of the AI for the creatures of the game was a manager at a Waffle House.
One day, they receive a sketchy-looking email from some guy named Gabe Newell. Now, I want you to just put yourself in their shoes for a second. You're a young guy, you're going to college, you're working, you're making mods for your favorite game when you can, and then you randomly get an email that says, hey dude, me and some other millionaires are going to make Quake. What better? Do you want a job doing that? Call me. Obviously, Steve and John assumed this was a scam, so they ignored it. That is, until curiosity got the better of Steve in particular, who I'm sure was dreaming about what it would be like to not work at a Waffle House, so he finally decided to call the number. According to John Guthrie, that day, Gabe bought Steve a plane ticket, a rental car, and a hotel room. Steve was standing in the airport, waiting for the electronic ticket to come through, and he kept saying, this has got to be the go. Of course, this is now, so long ago. Steve was given a few days in Seattle to hang out and make the decision whether or not he wanted to move back. He said yes. Ended up staying in Seattle. John, back in Florida, realizing that Steve didn't actually get trafficked by the Nigerian prince of Seattle, so he followed Steve after on this opportunity. And he knew that Half-Life was full of surprises, because they were looking to hire anyone that they could, they felt had talent. So now they had everything they needed. That is, except someone who would sell their game. Evidently, although Gabe was inspired by Doom's directness and he didn't consider it a viable option to sell at the time to sell published assets. I think it's worth pointing out that neither did Id Software consider it a viable model after they published Doom, considering that they also got a publisher so that they could get Doom 2 and Quake in stores those following years. Either way, they wanted a publisher, but no publisher wanted Valve. At first, they couldn't find anybody who would share their game, despite Gabe and Mike's Microsoft veteran credentials. It was sort of weird going from Microsoft, where you were really respected, to going into a meeting with a game publisher who said, go away, stop bugging me, come back to Paragon. According to Gabe, in one particularly bad meeting, Valve suggested that they would use a skeletal animation system for characters in their game. Apparently, this idea was so far-fetched to the publisher that he immediately ended the presentation they were giving. The publisher said, okay, meeting's over. They didn't believe we could do it. Fortunately, they did finally secure one interested publisher in the company, Sierra, later called Sierra Studios. The head of that publisher at the time, Scott Lynch, recalls that the big question about Valve's potential game was this. Is this just going to be new Quake levels? The Valve team assured them, no, it wasn't. This was going to be a game with its own unique story to tell and world to explore. This was no Quake expansion pack. With that reassurance, Sierra went all in and made the agreement to be Valve's publisher for one game. And with that, it was time for Valve to get to work. And work they did. Mike Harrington would come to be known as the practical realist, as he was responsible for much of Half-Life's programming, whereas Gabe Newell would be described as the ambitious dreamer, as he was responsible for some of the key philosophies behind the game's design. As Ken Birdwell said in Valve's Half-Life documentary,
Gabe's dictate was, as you walk forward, something needs to happen like every 3 to 5 seconds. The player stands still, the universe can be quiet. But if they move forward, if they're active, the universe needs to play back something, needs to do something, even if it is a scripted sequence or
an interesting sign
or a sound or some vignette or something.
Basically, Gabe wanted a game where the player was constantly bumping into interesting things to experience. Every little vignette in the game was trying to tell you something about the area you're in and how the story is proceeding.
For God's sake, open the tunnel door! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Oh my God, we're doomed!
Another one of Gabe's contributions was enforcing the idea that the game should be reactive to the player.
My God, what are you doing? Stop fucking with the microwave!
It was of prime importance to him that the game environment acknowledge the player's actions. If you shoot at the wall, it should make a mark on the wall. If you shoot at some soldiers, they should either shoot back or run away. We take this kind of thing for granted today, but Half-Life was one of the first action shooters to really kind of give a shit about this concept. And the fancy key word for this concept here is reinforcement. You do a thing, the environment rewards you by acknowledging your existence. Reinforcement was the key idea for Half-Life's development, and this was in opposition to those who were clamoring for the game to be more realistic. After all, smacking a crowbar on the wall shouldn't necessarily make a bullet hole, but you obviously want to smack the wall when you see it makes a mark on there so that you can start drawing stuff on the wall and making marks all over the fucking place. Here's what Gabe had to say about it.
You'd have these conversations where you'd be sitting in a design review and somebody say that's not realistic, and you're like, okay, what does that have? Like, explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy, and I've never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun.
True and real. Behold, reinforcement! Gabe would have a few more influences on Half-Life through his interests at the time. When the game was in very early draft stages, he knew that he wanted it to have a horror element, something to scare the player like how he felt when he was playing Doom late at night. Gabe had been recently reading Stephen King's The Mist around then, and that book has a sense of tension that he wanted to emulate. You know, the kind of vibe where monsters are always hiding in mist, or in Half-Life's case, monsters that would be always hiding around the next corner, down the hallway, or in the vents, ready to jump at you. Another inspiration that influenced the game involved the G-Man, who was based on Gabe Newell's interest at the time in the cigarette-smoking man from the X-Files. Some of Gabe's personal life influenced the game as well. If you've never seen the final boss of Half-Life, here it is! It's called the Nihilanth, and it looks like a giant creepy baby monster. There's a reason for that. I'll let Gabe's son explain.
The final boss of Half-Life 1, actually, the giant evil baby monster, is supposed to be me. When my mother was in childbirth, they were thinking something really scary, and at the time, having a child seemed to be the most scary thing to everyone.
By this point, Half-Life had been in development for months, almost a year. Everyone was working away trying to make the best game that they could. There were plenty of good ideas being brought to life, but there was one huge problem. All the work being done did not have a coherent vision. One guy is making one level, this guy is making another level. Do they connect? do they make sense when they're put back to back? You guys are beginning to realize, no, they don't. Oh shit, we're making a game that's supposed to have a cool narrative setting it apart from its competitors, and we don't have a coherent narrative. So, to assess the full damage, after months and months of work, they all sat down together in the same room for the first time to evaluate everything that they had made and realized none of it meshed. It wasn't fun.
It must have been the meeting when we reviewed all the levels. It was like the first time everybody piled into a room, and Gabe had his crazy Hellraiser chair with a beautiful Mac monitor, and we played it for 2 days. He played everyone's levels. But I remember one moment, he turned around, he was like this with his hair, he was failed. And I was just like, it blew me away. I was like, oh shit, this is good.
Valve had a holiday deadline coming up and just realized that their game sucked. They had an important decision to make. Do we ship the game as it is, or do we keep working on it? We should probably ship the game. After all, Sierra has already arranged for promotions and advertisements. They're expecting this to be their biggest game of the year. Delaying it could seriously damage the relationship between us. They're practically the only publisher that would say yes to us. So do we really want to do that? On top of that, the game has already been shown off at E3 to huge public excitement. That excitement comes with the expectation that it's coming out this year, the year we said it would come out. But the game isn't good. What do we do? It was a hard decision, but they ultimately decided to delay the game and keep working on it, even if it ended in a PR disaster. They basically told Sierra, hey, our game sucks, we're going to make it good, and we know you're not going to pay us for working on it further. After all, they had the good fortune of being led by men who could literally afford a bit of extra development time, as well as having the wisdom to decide to give it that time. Because, as Gabe figured, even if he had to pay out of pocket to keep the game in development,
late is just for a little while, sucked is forever.
Which of course is a callback to the famous Shigeru Miyamoto quote, a bad game is forever. A delayed game is also bad. I hate video games. What did I say? Huh, bitch? But even Microsoft money only lasts so long, especially when you're paying the full-time salaries of roughly 30 people. Valve would now try to get the game entirely redeveloped, have all the levels feel cohesive, and do it as quickly as possible. They set a goal for the spring of 1998. When spring of 1998 came and left and the game still wasn't done yet, it was pushed to summer of 1998, then fall of 1998. Delay. Some things never changed with Valve, but it wasn't for no reason. After all, the game was being almost entirely remade from the ground up. That first year was like the test run for them on how to make a game. This second year, every level would gel with one another. It would all flow as a story, and overall, way more fun. That was the goal. And, as many of you know, delaying the game worked. It worked really well. Half-Life would release in late 1998 to widespread critical and popular acclaim. Valve, despite their rocky and uncertain start, had knocked it out of the park on their very first release. They celebrated by smashing a head crab piñata with a crowbar and then taking everyone and their families on a vacation to Mexico. Alright guys, I gotta be real with you for a bit. I am really disappointed in where this story goes from a narrative perspective, because I like looking into game developers for the work that they do on their games. And it turns out, Gabe pretty much stops being a game developer, like, within this exact time period on. You know, just for most of Valve's history, that's all. After Half-Life 1 and 2, in fact, during Half-Life 2, I start seeing a lot less Gabe does something relating to Valve's video games, and a lot more Gabe hires a team that pitches him on an idea to do something. And I'll be happy to be proven wrong, but as far as I can tell, Gabe is never as involved with the game design as he was during Half-Life 1 ever again. So where do we go from here? Well, let me back up what I'm saying first so that you know I'm not just blowing smoke, and then we'll cover some more concrete information to end out the video. During Half-Life 2, Gabe intentionally backs off of the game's development, just a couple years into it, letting his team at Valve take the lead. His reasoning for this was that he wanted to be able to judge the team's work with fresh eyes, seeing it as their audience would see it. He came up with the idea to have Dr. Breen as the antagonist, and there was the incident with the German hacker, but other than that, Gabe steps away to go work on Steam. Steam comes out, a year later, Half-Life 2 comes out on Steam, and then we enter an era where Gabe, like I said, is just hiring people to do a thing rather than doing a thing. Is he involved with these projects? Probably. To what extent? I don't know. The way Valve does the credits for their games doesn't help. Just completely void of any useful information. Throw everybody into a giant off list. And then we get to Portal 2. We know for a fact that Gabe was not involved very much with the development of Portal 2. You wouldn't know that if you were just looking at Valve's credits for the game, but I digress. He said it himself several times.
Half-Life 1 or Half-Life 2?
Portal 2? I worked less on Portal 2 than I... So there's this problem that when you work on games, and it's a collection of flaws and regrets and mistakes.
Under a deadline.
Under a deadline. So Portal 2, which I worked on less, is like much easier for me to appreciate as, oh wow, that's pretty good. Good job, guys.
Also happens to be a great game unto its own right, conveniently.
The reason why he didn't have much to do with it, well, the lead designer of Portal 2 explains it like this.
I think he always wanted to be part of the team, but being Gabe and being in his position, that never really worked, I feel, because people would be like, whatever you say, and I think he was more like, no, I want to like be part of the team and come up with ideas, and that was really hard for people. So I think there was a period where he kind of stepped back and was like, all right, I guess I'm just not going to be able to interact with everyone that way.
So it's actually really sad, because even if Gabe wanted to jump feet first back into game development, he might not be able to fit in, just because of his status of being Gabe Newell. And it's not like his status has decreased over time. So if that happened all the way back with Portal 2, I have to speculate and say I don't see why it would change for any future Valve game. To those of you commenting right now, just email him and ask. I did. A few different times. I never got a reply, and frankly, I didn't expect to. The man gets a billion emails a day, so I don't blame him. Although, I did find screenshots of people who got replies if they were in the hospital or wanted a deadlock code. Hold on. Wait, if you're watching this, I would still love to know what your other contributions to other Valve games were. And by the way, I'm in the hospital, and I just really want to play Deadlock. I want to end the video on something a little different. Gabe is a very wealthy man due to that money printer of his, so I thought to talk about where all of that money goes. You gotta get some shit number one first, of course. Giant yacht, giant flight tournament. Thank you. A man served as a jail phone. Very cheap. Also invested into charities, nonprofits, and research. For example, we'll start with Starfish. In 2024, he co-founded the company Starfish, which is researching the capabilities of neural interfacing, i.e. using your brain to interact with computers. This could be for entertainment purposes, for video games, among other things. Who knows what the possibilities are? You could say that Starfish was made just to be competitive with Elon Musk's Neuralink, but in my research for this video, I found Gabe talking about neural interfacing as early as 2013, so he's obviously been thinking about this stuff for a long time.
I think we're looking at really science fiction stuff happening sooner than people expect, in the sense that we're going to be able to drive your nervous system and read out of your nervous system sooner than people expect, and it'll be a consumer-grade technology sooner sooner than people expect.
We've just recently seen that this technology can help disabled people greatly, which is amazing. There's also, of course, the possibility that this technology ends up creating some sort of cyberpunk dystopia or utopia. You take your pick. I imagine we'll see the outcome of all this within the next 10 years, or maybe as early as, oh, I don't know, tomorrow. Who knows? Good luck, everybody.
The real world will stop being the metric that we apply to the best possible visual fidelity. Instead, it's like the real world is being flat, colorless, blurry
Moving along from Starfish, Gabe is also a member of an ocean research organization called Think Fish. Yeah, apparently Gabe is big in ocean. Think Fish calls itself a philanthropic fundraising service. They collaborate with academics from all over the world with their jets, from maritime submarines that can touch down you know, the one place on our planet that we understand less. And I personally find it very strange. In a world where other billionaires are getting joyrides out of submarines that horrifically kill people, to hear about a billionaire spending his money in a way that safely helps broaden our understanding of the ocean. So, bravo, Gabe. Much more mundanely, Gabe is a longtime reader and supporter of the webcomic Questionable Contact. At least recently in 2020. I haven't read the webcomic myself, so I have no comment about its quality, but I do find it very funny that of all the major investments he's made, he also happens to give this one particular webcomic a few bucks a month on Patreon. He was even featured in the comic in 2007 after meeting the creator of the comic at SakuraCon and asking for a signed poster from him. In a very strange turn of events, Gabe is also the, quote, fairy godfather to a cooking website. This all happened when he bid on an auction at his son's middle school, buying an item that happened to be a personal dinner for 10. The two guys offering the dinner went over to the Newell household, and apparently their cooking blew everybody away. Gabe called it, quote, easily the best food I've ever had. So these two guys, Chris Young and Grant Crilly, would later form a company together called Chef Steps. And according to them, Gabe offered them help in the form of a low-interest loan. He was just so impressed with their cuisine that he thought they deserved some generous offer of funding. And lastly, I want to mention a couple of the most famous examples of Gabe's charity work. Gabe is the co-founder of a motorsports racing team called The Heart of Racing, which has supported donations to the Seattle Children's Hospital since 2014. In 2020, he made a significant donation to a different children's hospital, this one in New Zealand, called Starship. This donation was related to a partnership he made with Rocket Lab to send a gnome into space. It sounds silly because it is, but it was also a great way to draw out publicity for a good cause. For those who don't know, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 had an achievement for players who took this little gnome guy all the way to the end of the game and launched him off in a rocket. The achievement's called Little Rocket Man. He's in Left 4 Dead 2 as well, by the way. Well, Gabe was able to leverage this meme into some good for kids who need it, and offered to donate $1 per every live viewer of the launch on their website. The launch was a success, and it ultimately resulted in Gabe donating about $200,000 to the Starship Children's Hospital. Gabe Newell is an interesting guy. He's less of a game developer than I initially hoped, and more of a producer. And yet, if he weren't in that producer role, I think the world would be worse off. God forbid if any other major company was running Steam. For Steam's generally consumer-positive existence alone, I hope that Gabe sticks around for a long, long time. Maybe with his neural research, we'll get a permanent God Emperor Gabe on the Golden Throne someday. Hope there are no negative side effects to that. Gabe isn't perfect, and neither is Valve. But I still like both of them. It's hard not to. I personally hope Valve stops releasing Dota and Dota byproducts, and I hope that Gabe continues to oversee the company and keep it running smoothly, Steam included. I also hope that his research has positive effects on the world, and that he continues to put his money into charities as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and maybe learned something along the way. You can tell me about it in the comments below. Or if you had this on in the background while you were doing the dishes and zoning out, or drawing, or whatever, thanks for letting my voice invade your subconscious. Since you weren't paying attention, I've implanted several code words that are going to activate you like a sleeper agent, and now you have no idea which words they are or what. Those are the breaks. Sorry, baby, you got clean dishes and completed your art project, but at the cost of your brain. The people who watch this intensely while eating lunch, they know what's up. They're gonna avoid those code words. You better go back and watch the whole video again to avoid all that. Genuinely though, if you made it all the way to the end here, thank you very much for watching. And double thank you to all of my patrons who helped me decide who this video was going to be about. Very grateful for your continued support. And with all that taken care of, I'm going to play some funny Half-Life 1 clips I got while recording footage for the game. Bye-bye!
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
You won't be long here. I seem to be moving, but I can keep going.
Easily kill this guy, by the way, if I just had pressed my button. Look at his health, guys. Look at the health. I was done attacking him, but he died because of the bleeding and the poison. Guys, this is the updated build that I showed in my last video, but now I believe it is fully ready, just not upgraded to the fullest, because obviously right now we are level capped. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Boom. Level 50, and we cannot go past it. We need to wait 4 days before we can go higher, but so far I believe this is the best build that we can do with the strategic sword and the heaven quicker here. This is what I run. I love this combo. The bleeding effects are insane, satisfying. So let's start with the two weapons. Like I showed in my previous video, the strategic sword, level up to the fullest. You go here, and you can see we need to go to level 6 world before we can go to the tier 4. So make sure you do that, upgrade everything. So now it is even better because the affinity rate is higher and all the attacks are also better. Same thing with the heaven quicker spear. You go here and you upgrade everything until you go until you are the level that you need to break through. Now we're done with that. This is my martial arts. Now the mystic skills. I have started using them way better. Now in game, I'm not talking about PvP because yes, this build is also super good in PvP, but in solo mode, you need to have the Meridian touch. It is by far, in my opinion, against bosses, one of the best mystic skills because sometimes the bosses will have some animation, and with this one, with this skill, you can literally cancel those animations and stop them from doing a huge powerful move against you. So this is a must. I also have these. These are mostly for PvPs. This allows you to stop enemies from keep attacking you. Basically, you're breaking this combo that they're doing. Same thing with this one. It is good for defense. This is for movement, but I feel it is kind of clunky right now. Yes, these are for solos, and also make sure you upgrade them all. For example, you can see go to upgrade, and you can upgrade everything till tier 9. Then you're gonna have to spend some resources, which I have not yet. I will do another video on that when this build is really at 100%. Right now, I know we're still at level 50. That's why I'm not really worried about that part. Now the inner way, in my opinion, the most important aspect of this game. Now, if you watch my previous video, I have changed my inner ways, not all of them. So first of all, we have the sword horizon. If you do not know, this allows you to add extra combos to your moves. So I'm gonna show you right now. So And by the way, I just joined the Midnight Blade sec. This is the guy that I just talked to, so you know, I'm just promoted to that sec. Anyway, that's beside the point. So you have your sword. Usually that's how it looks whenever you do your martial skills, right? And this is how the special skill look like. Boom. And this is how the charge skill look like.
Just go there.
Now with this new inner way that you just added, now this is how it looks. The martial art, like this, and now look, boom, extra attack. Same thing with the special skill, like this, and now boom, you slash again. And same thing with the charge one. So now you're gonna charge, and then you're gonna do this, but then you can keep going. Boom. It is just better, more slashes, more bleeding effects, more everything basically. So we're not done yet. Now we can also go into inner way breakthrough and start upgrading them. So I have just upgraded my Sword Horizon. The first one adds more endurance. I'm not a fan of it. I'm the type of player that only cares about damages. I'm gonna be real. So, but we do need to do it if we want to get to the good parts right here. So later on, we're gonna get a max physical attack in solo mode, high bleed effects, and it is gonna be better. So right now I'm showing you what I have, what build I am running. So only the first one. Next, we have my favorite inner way for this build. It is the Beater Seasons. So at first I thought it wasn't that good because it is a poison effect in a way, but in my opinion, no weapons, nothing can add some poison. So I was like, what's the point of having one poison in a way? It doesn't really matter in this build, but I was wrong. When dealing damage, there is a 10% chance to apply poison effect for 5 seconds. Just like that, it's not that good. But here is a good part. The poison reduces target's physical defense by 1.2% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So that means every time the enemy, whoever you're fighting with, as soon as they get poison, their physical defense reduces by 1.2%, stacking up to 5. Basically, that is 5 times 1.2, which is 7% if I'm not wrong. For 10 seconds, the enemy will be weak against physical attacks. And in this game, everything is a physical attack. So whenever we add poison, it is so good. And also, I'm going to show you something later on in the build that fits so well with this in a way. So now, whenever you upgrade it, I just did it once, increases the physical defense reduction of each poison stack to 1.2%. So even more physical defense reduction. And then we can even upgrade everything else in solo mode, and same thing for the rest of it. This mod is so great. Then we have the 5-fold bleed. I've talked about this one in my last build. It is a rare, mod, not even epic, not even a legendary, but it is so nice for this build. Dealing damage adds a 10% chance to apply 1 stack of Weeping Blood for 5 seconds, damaging the target once per second. Up to 5 stacks, you're gonna have a 10% chance to add Weeping Blood, so more bleeding effect. Now if we go in the inner way, I have upgraded as well, and look at this. Increases piercing damage by 100%. And whenever you burst the 5 stacks, because that's what your weapon does, it does so much damage. And what I mean by that, if we go right here to the strategic sword, you're gonna see that whenever we do this ability, look, bleed. If an enemy is already affected by 5 stack of bleed, which in this build will happen a lot of time because we do a lot of bleeding, this attack deals a massive bonus damage and tears all bleed stacks from them. So we're gonna remove all the stacks, but it's gonna be like a mini burst explosion. So whenever you do that and you pair it with the mud I just showed you, the 5-fold bleed, it is so insane. And the last one is the Wolf Chaser's art, primarily for the Heaven Quaker Spear. I have not forgotten the spears, trust me. So what it does, buff 510 to 48. Each time Sober Sorrow is this ability. I'm gonna show you. Boom, the first one. Whenever you keep spinning, so whenever you do that, you're gonna see a combo score on the right side of your screen, and that number is how many touches you got on the enemy. So the more that number is, the better it is gonna be for your next skill, which is this one. There is a 20, 40, 60, 80, 100% chance to increase the combo count by 1 based on the number of bleed attacks. So the more bleed it is, the better it is. The way you want to play this build is like a loop. I will show you as well in a moment. Everything is related. Now for my gear, I got 4 sets of the Hawking. So I'm going to show you whenever you have 4 of these are the effects that you get. So 2 pieces, you're going to get the affinity rate plus 1% basically. If you have 4 pieces, in my case, you also have an increased physical attack by 2% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5. And this only happens when you trigger an affinity attack basically. And here are the 4 pieces. You can see the logos at the top. As for the exact weapon, it doesn't really matter at this moment. We also just unlocked the gear tuning. So now we have aspects here. These are so bad. Max HP, physical defense. That's not what we want, but that's what I have right now. Don't focus on that yet because like I said, this is a level 50 build. Same thing for my spears. You can see the sets, my disc, and my pendant. Now for the defense side, I use the Eagle Rise set, 2-piece physical defense, and with the 4 pieces, basically it is going to reduce the incoming attacks whenever you have a full stacks. You can read it, trust me, use this one. It is so good whenever you do damage over time, like the bleeding build and poison build that I'm showing you right now. Talents, it is so underrated. The only thing I don't like is the fact that you're not really choosing. Everyone basically is going to have the same thing. I wish we could just choose their actual path, but basically get everything. I know a lot of people say to use this one. I don't, because this is every time a skills or something related to you going down, you dying, you doing bad. I'm not a fan of it. I try to get better at the game and not use it. So basically this is whenever you get hit by a fatal damage, something's gonna happen. But guess what? I'm just not gonna get hit by a fatal damage. That's my thought process. So that's why I'm not using it right now. Obviously if I have more talent, I will go back and pick it up. Get everything else because these are stats, affinity rate, damage. This is the skill I was talking about for PvP primarily. Same thing, critical hit rate, defense is good. Same thing here. I feel like this one is similar to the other one. I don't need it right now. It is good. I just spent some points in defense. And then I got everything else. I want to get those, but I can't right now because I need my martial mastery to reach 9,000. If you don't know what is that number, if you go to your abilities tab, and you're going to see your current build power overall right here. So we're actually 3 points shy from now 9,000 for my martial mastery. So let's go back to talent. Soon I will be able to get those. I like it. This is a critical rate. Take them. Same thing here. This is a minimal physical attack and a max physical attack. These are the ones that you need to spend your point the most on. These are not just regular numbers. These are percentages. You can see 13.2, 26.4, and you can see the rest. Same thing for the minimal. And also I prefer the minimum physical attack than the maximum because I feel like whenever you have your minimum physical attack to the highest, that means even if you do bad, you're gonna do good, if you get what I'm saying, right? So let's say I get the minimum physical attack right here. I know even if I do bad, I know it is gonna be super good because I focus on the minimum, and then I'm gonna focus on the maximum. Because if you do the opposite, you're gonna have to hope that your chances are good enough to get the maximum and not the minimum. So it's up to you. I'd rather focus on the minimum at the moment. Then this, and then we'll get the other ones. So yeah, the only thing I don't like about talents, like I said, is the fact that everyone at the end is gonna have the same talent. But I'm still showing it to you. In this game, you have what are called oddities. So if you go in your guide and then you go to explore, you can close this tab journal. You open up the oddity. Obviously, you probably know about them. Those are the things that you can just grab exploring the map. So I'm talking about the bees, the red smokes, the butterflies or whatever that is, you know, those things right here. And later on, you also get more. So whenever you get to the other part of the map, you get those flying birds and everything. So these are called oddities. So you have 2 regions. Once you have them oddities, I just showed you. You can choose. So we have the first one.
What's going on, Legends? I'm gonna show you today how to maximize your mastery. A lot of people have been asking me because I have 10.7 thousand. I believe I can get up to 11,000, but I would need all 3 epic items, which I don't have, and I tried to craft some, but it was just unlucky. So tomorrow, as of right now, as I'm recording, tomorrow we will get level increase from 50 to 55. So I'm gonna show you what to do with the gear early on, or right away as we level to 51, which we will get because we have stored experience, and this will just scare you. I'll just show you how to upgrade the gear, how to go about it. So let's get after it, my boys, my G's and gens. So first thing, obviously you wanna enhance for your mastery through this, just simple enhance on all points, on all items. This will give you, well, just the boost itself. Next thing, after this, we will unlock Arsenal, which we don't have right now, but tomorrow Arsenal will unlock. You will pick the element you're using for your weapons. Right now, I'm playing the purple one, so I will pick purple Arsenal, and that's where you put your all the gear with the highest mastery. So don't trash your gear, just all the best gear score mastery you have in your bags will be applied there, and you will get extra damage and life, so that is very important. It will also increase that. Another one to keep in mind is the tuning here. Now, some people say it's useless, but it's not, because we use level 41 stones for tuning. Let me just try it as a showcase. These stones are on... they're just worthless after tomorrow's cap, so we will be getting new stones. So always try to tune for the given breakthrough we have, because it will be very much worth it. And this... This is 4 colors: green, blue, purple, and then legendary, which is yellow or gold. This is the highest roll you can get, the gold one. And it's purple. Lowest lower is blue, and then green. So this also fully RNG. You can roll stats that you need for the build. Like this one is, for example, all from a build. But for example, let's say this one is useless for me because Bell Strike is for sword and spear build, not for my build. I'm looking for bamboo cut. For example, if you how to check what gear or what damage type you need, if you go here into the guide, and this tells you what you need to get. So for example, the tanks will go for stone split might. DPS range will go for silk binds. Here, Bell Strike. This applies to both. So even if you run hybrid build with a, let's say, nameless sword and strategic sword, double sword, you can still it will still apply to both, right? This is for healer. Silk bind again would apply for both. So bamboo cut for me. That's how we know. Another massive mastery increase is actually having the set pieces. So first is the armor, and then it's the weapon. If you have 4 in both, this will increase your mastery a lot. Like a lot. Obviously the rarity, because as you can see, blue items get double tuning, epics get 3, and legendaries get 4. I believe you have 5 at higher level, if I remember correctly from China. So that's also one of the things. Also another one, I believe if you're on the same elements, you get more mastery than compared to if you're running, like, let's say, if I was running twin blades with the Mo blade, tank one, to use the shield from it, it will decrease my mastery, I think. I'm not sure about that one. Now the major thing, I have a full video how to go about Innervade. This was from the Chinese server, but this one, upgrading this will give you a tremendous boost to mastery as well. The breakthroughs, because every single passive has the talent tree, if you will. For each of these you need pages. It doubles and even more than that for each level, so this is actually very crucial. First level is 10, then it's 20, then it's 40, which we should unlock tomorrow, and so on and so forth. These are very hard to get. That is why I do not recommend, or I keep saying, to main one set of items from the beginning. But if you don't main the same items, or weapons I mean, there is some workaround. So if you are maxing out, this one for example is from a build. If you're maxing out your class specific weapon, you can click on conversion, you can pick the ones you have upgraded, which is this one, and you can see I have 53 pages. What this will do is, let's say I want to play sword as my secondary, name a sword. I'm gonna pick this passive, which I don't have upgraded, and all these pages will transfer over to this passive. This lets you just swap the builds and try out different combos if you wanna do that. We got 8 attempts at conversion. 4 of them are free. I guess there is a cost after that, but if you are just lost with the builds or you messed up, you wanna swap reroll, that's this way. Also another way are the weapon upgrades. You can totally reset all the weapon upgrades. Most of them are at 100% refund, but some of them are 80%, like the point and the green items. It doesn't show because I think this is just translation error, but yeah, this returns at 80%. This the most important ones return at 100%, so don't worry about that. So if I was to play a second weapon, no problem, instead of the broke down, for example. So that's another way to increase your mastery. The passives, obviously if you get the golden quality, gives you more mastery, but not unless you're in a hybrid build, you're unlikely to run all Lego, so. And plus purples are very strong, so I wouldn't really go based by the color, honestly. Next up are Mystic skills. I have a video in the right upper corner if you guys want to check out how to get the most important ones, which is the Dragon's Breath, Soaring Spin, and Drunken Poet, which goes well with Mystic with the Dragon's Breath. And with Dragon's Breath, you also unlock the Dragon's Head, which we cannot use right now because we don't have enough vitality for it. Right here. No, not right here. I'm blind. This one. We don't have enough vitality for it. We should get it probably tomorrow though, but yeah, so get it. So we need to upgrade these Mystic skills as well. If you click on it, I'm maxed out right now. What we need for this is the are the stones right here. Ebon, iron. These, the best how to obtain these are from outposts. As you can see in every single outpost on the map, it shows you the black iron, the black stone. Right here, 15 of these for 20 energy. So it's very cheap and it gives you a lot of rewards. You also get the chest with passives from each outpost. I don't recommend farming bosses because bosses do not give you these stones. I believe if you go through Wandering Paths, challenges, and this boss, for example, the group one, it does not give you any of the stones, all the black stones. It gives you upgrade stones, but these are very easily obtainable right now because we get them from Season Shop and some like Meow Meow Shop and some other ways. You get some passives, of course, but yeah. One good thing about bosses is you can pick your own set from this. You can pick your own set. It's not random. From Outpost, the gear is random. So for gear, I recommend this boss. I recommend boss. Tomorrow we will be able to do this one. The double boss, by the way. First time double boss tomorrow, homies. But yeah, for gearing, I recommend doing this. And then for upgrading the Mystic skills, which will be very needed, I recommend doing Outpost. It's for sure. That's what we need. Now for the breakthrough to enter tier, you need to get special items. It's the Tower Pearls, and then it's some flowers, I think. And everything shows you in the game. There is everything literally right here. You get it from Season Shop, but you also get it like a gathering, right? It shows you in the map where to gather them, no problem, even more locations. And there is a food called spicy chicken noodle, I believe. There is a chef right here, a food stall. You get the food from it. It gives you 20% chance to get more.
Do what I say.
Fresh fruit, sweet as honey, crisp as jade. Osmanthus drink.
Breaking a branch of
Osmanthus
Osmanthus
here.
forest
One
promises-
sip like spring water from the heavens.
Fresh chives, 2 bundles for a bargain!
Isn't this the flying dragon comic? I saw it in the theater the other day.
Strange. What?
First, think about who wrote this book. Then think about who this book is about.
Is there anything you like?
Why are you
Your fortune with this shop is... Old woes fade, new luck arrives, leaping through the... Shopkeeper, I'm not flattering for rewards. I took this.
Oh, isn't this Brother Lee? What a coincidence.
Where'd the birds go? All I see are empty cages.
Hey, go away! Don't...
Walking this path hurts my feet.
How much?
Come on, sis. Have a drink, just one. For me.
This stuff dulls the mind. I advise you to drink it sparingly as well.
Playing such dreary tunes scares customers away. Perfect. No guests anywhere. Well, with or without music.
Is chopping wood really useful? Maybe we shouldn't drink anymore.
Each of my dough figures is made with care. Lifelike.
Any carriages free at noon tomorrow? Please wait.
I must get in touch with them somehow.
Grandmother loves the ink orchids here the most. Just seeing them will show her lift her spirit. That's why I birded. We intensely birded.
Hey! What did you bring back this time, Span?
When I get back to Young Joe, I can say I've seen the world.
If the divination flops, you get your money back.
My money. Anyone?
If you wish, Amitabha.
Hey, I didn't see you this morning. You didn't ditch the morning service, did you?
I overslept again. You can't, don't. Please. Don't let Master Pure Dust know.
Too late. He already knows.
resources. I will try to show you if I have some on me right now, but I am not so sure. Oh my god, this is a mess in my bag. I have so much food in the bags. That is crazy. Here are some noodles, but that's not it. Just chicken noodles. Give it 20%. I mean, I can show these ones. This is the same. 20% chance to extra harvest from logging and fishing. But the noodles I'm talking about are for harvesting when it comes to flowers, okay? When it comes to flowers. But I don't have any in my bag. That is awkward. Yeah, I get a single one. That's maybe I do. I just gonna find them. But yeah, that's where I get it. Because this will be very crucial and hard to upgrade, basically, overall. The same story, this one. It shows you where to find them. Again, get the food buff and start gathering. Now, big recommendation. Alright, big thing, boys. Listen up right now. If you gather in solo world, all this has 24 hours cooldown. Respawn. 24 hours. But if you go in online world, the respawn is 5 minutes. Yes, you heard right. 5 minutes. How do we go into MMO world? Online mode. Mode switch. Online mode. Press space. Boom. Just like this. Easy clap, boys. Easy clap. We are in the open world or like in online world, and you simply just teleport wherever you want. I've seen the flowers. There's some around here, so I will just teleport to this point. The loading screen will teleport. Takes a while because it's different. And boom, you will even see people in open world. So, goddamn, is this an MMO? Look, there's a player right here. And look, I think I just got the flower to upgrade my mystic skill without any food. Well, that's pretty good. Or was it this one? I'm not sure. I just picked. It was purple. I'm not sure. Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was not. I don't know. Maybe I'm trolling. But yeah, that's how we get them, boys. That's literally how we get them. Super easy to upgrade. Let me think if I missed anything else for the gear upgrade, but I think I covered everything. Weapons, innervate, mystic skill, the gear staff, attunement, enhance. And then also another thing, our talents, boys. Talents give you also mastery. And we, for every single quest or opening chest, we get enlightenment. Enlightenment, if you have enough, is right here. We got extra talent point. This gives you 20 mastery for each point. But as you can see, we are locked from some of these, right? We need more mastery for these. And tomorrow we shall upgrade this one, I believe. Well, actually, maybe not. 50,000 is locked. But yeah, that's how we get the talents. That's how we get them. Super easy. Talents as well. Arena doesn't count for mastery, boss, same story. So this is another thing how to get after them. And I'm not sure if we also get the mastery from Ode to Vendor right here, but I'm not sure we do. I mean, it's actually I haven't fully upgraded, but there is Ode to Vendor that gives you extra stamina and everything. I'm just not sure if it gives you extra mastery as well for the passives, which we already, most of us probably finished it, so we are moving over to the new one in Typhoon, this one. But yeah, cheese and gents, I believe that was it for mastery. If I missed something, I will put it in the description of the video or in the top comments. I mean, yep, I got him. Beautiful. Mystic skill breakthrough. But yeah, if you don't know anything or if you're lost in the source information, always click on the item and it will show you where to get it from. Okay, it will show you where to get it from. And weekly reset, what you get, also another important thing to mention. Every Sunday at my time, 10 p.m., which is EU time, we can buy these chests. I recommend buying every single one, especially these for passives, right? And also the one with the, well, this one as well, and the commerce, these two. These are also, basically any of these are super important. These are the gear boxes, which we will buy tomorrow, by the way, homies. This is how you start gearing up tomorrow. You buy these chests and you pick the set you need, right? Recommended for your build. But you need to cap out some Jfish coins per week to be able to buy the other one, this one, for 15. So we gotta work towards that. But then we very much, you boys. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all. I stream every day on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. If you guys would stop by, I'm every day. I'm gonna increase this mastery as much as I can for the next breakthrough. So if you have any questions, stop by, ask away. But until next time, you have a great one, and peace out.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Where Wins Meet video, and today we're gonna go over a full progression guide from level 1 to 60 plus, specifically in such a way that you minimize the number of resources that you get to waste, but in the process also become much stronger, which is something that becomes a lot more important, especially as you break through and reach higher levels. Speaking of which, you might have noticed right now in the game there is currently a level cap of max level 20, and you're prohibited for now to increase your breakthrough from level 2 to level 3. And that is intended. It's supposed to actually scale down the way everybody progresses in the game, gives everybody a breathing room so that everybody gets to enjoy some of the other aspects of the game as well. So one thing to keep in mind is that you don't lose out any XP. Even if you're already at the level 20 cap and continue to do activities, all of that XP gets banked. You will even see that popping up on the left side of the screen as banked XP. So once we do get to breakthrough, you're going to get all of that counting from that point on. So expect these level caps to continue to persist every single day for the next week or so until everybody reaches that maximum level. But breaking through is essentially going to be your first level of progression. This immediately increases the max level available to you, but in the process also increases all of your 5 main attributes plus your precision rates. That's already going to be a big plus. This increases even more on higher breakthrough levels. Another thing that changes is that you'll get access to higher grade loots of much better quality, all the way to like eventually even purples and legendaries. But in the process, also enemy strength increases all across the map. Which brings us to one of our most important progression systems, that of the martial arts. It goes without saying that you should just unlock every single martial arts that's available to you, even for the weapons you're not planning on using that much. Simply because, well, besides the extra rewards, you also get a lot of extra internal arts for those specific weapons. Like, for example, the Wolf Chaser's art, which you get during the Heaven Speaker Spear Sanctum from one of the chests, but Inkwell Fan also has one of them, and there's also another one for Panacea, so you don't just get them from scattered out sources, they are also from the same location. You unlock them via skill theft. Once you have decided on a specific martial arts, like in this case we're going to use Nameless Sword as an example, you'll want to head over right here to the upgrade screen. And what I recommend doing right away is literally just mindlessly evolve it to level 20 right away, because that's so inexpensive. You could literally do it for all of the martial arts in the game, even with a level 20 character, simply because it only costs coins in this case, and like I said, it's very cheap to upgrade these to level 20. Now, once you hit the level 20 cap, two things will happen. One is that you're going to unlock a new talent passive for this specific weapon. In this case, increase max physical attack based on momentum, but the values you see right here will further increase every time we break through again from this point on. So these values will become even higher as we progress through the leveling stage. Plus, our martial arts level cap also increases from level 20 to 30. However, a big mistake at this point would be to stop right here once you have broken through the weapon and not leveling it up, because that's going to make you miss on a ton of DPS. The moment you have broken through the weapon, immediately get the next 10 levels as well until you reach the next cap. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting with an obsolete weapon, because keep in mind, mind, you just increase the difficulty of all of the mobs in the open world. And if you're fighting with a weapon that's just at the breakthrough level, it means you're fighting with it 10 levels lower. And just to show you what kind of difference you can expect, let's take a look at the bonuses we get for each of the individual attacks. So for everything that you see right here, the physical coefficients may have not changed that much, but the raw physical bonuses have more than tripled in some of the situations. From previously special skill 23 or so, 69 to 72. Same for martial arts, which is like 14 and 21. Now it's 42, 63. And it goes the same for everything else. Even light attacks from 5, now 15, 17, and whatnot. So if you don't do that, you're just going to be missing out on a ton of DPS, and that's why you're going to eventually feel weak. Now, obviously, every time you level up and break through, the cost of doing this will increase exponentially. But for the most part, it will always be two types of resources, martial arts tips, as well as a specific resource that normally drops from enemies, basically. So in the case of the tips, there are a few ways we can get these. The most straightforward being activity shop. You can get about like 25 or so weekly chests in exchange of 160 of those jade fish per chest piece. But the good news here is that we can literally select exactly the type of tips that we need so that you don't have to go through any RNG or anything of sorts. We just get the number that we need, and bam, we can go ahead and do the upgrades. Unlike, for example, internal arts that unfortunately are a bit more RNG. Meanwhile, for the stones and whatnot, you can get them both from different types of enemies that the UI already points out, so looting them already helps. But you can also use the battle pass shop. I covered the microtransactions in the previous video. If you want to check it out, you can also use some of the battle pass tokens to purchase these crates and select which of the regions or materials you want to further break through the weapons too. However, we are not done just yet. That covered the martial arts, but like you probably noticed, martial arts themselves are separate from the actual items themselves, which you find here in the gears menu. So not only do your martial arts have to be upgraded, but the weapons themselves and your armors also have to go through a similar process, which is called tuning. So if you hover over your selected items, I suggest starting with weapons, you can press the tune button, which will bring you to this screen right here. And what this lets us do is either use specific consumable materials like tuning stones, and even sacrifice existing gear pieces to massively improve the power of this weapon. And there are two aspects of the weapon we can improve. One is going to be getting extra mastery from it, which we can see by the green numbers here at the top, but also a set number of passive bonuses, anything like extra physical damage, improvement to certain types of attacks, all the way to defenses depending on the type of weapon that you have. All of these will be at random. In the case of the weapon we have here, it was 3 bonus stats, but higher level gear can have even more bonus stats than that. So for our measly 133 mastery umbrella we had in this footage, we were able to increase its mastery by another 100 if we upgraded it the proper way. But for higher level gear, we can get even higher differences in mastery, like plus 200, plus 300, and even more bonus stats than just 3. However, I do have a couple of disclaimers. For low level gear, be very stingy, especially with those tuning stones. You want to keep them for the high level gear so that you can actually make the difference when it's most important. And also make sure that you don't just spam the add all button, maybe once giving with the game recommendations, but if you continuously press it, yeah, your game eventually will indiscriminately just place almost everything in your inventory here. And the last thing you want is to sacrifice important or good gear that you were about to maybe switch to or keeping for a little bit later on to meet some requirements, but they can also get consumed this way. And as far as I was able to tell, at least in the early access version, we were not able to transfer the progress of one item to a new one. So at least for some of the lower level stuff, even if you max out a sword, for example, and then you get a high level sword and want to transfer some of that progress to your new better sword, the old one will simply be taken into account as if it's a regular weapon with no other upgrades on it. It's going to behave as any other weapon of a similar level. Moving on, another important progression point for your gear is going to be enhancing. This is something that you can do from the same screen. And unlike the previous type of upgrades, for this one you don't just upgrade an individual item piece, you instead upgrade a whole item slot category. Say for example you boost the levels of the left-handed weapon, so this is going to further increase that minimal and maximal physical attack power, but in the process any weapon that you slot in the left-handed weapon slot will benefit from these stats from now on as well. That is why the incremental increases you see right here are not quite as big per level, but they will definitely pile up and make a difference as you progress through the stages. This is also going to be dependent on the level of your current gear. So for example, if your current gear is maximum level like 31, you will not be able to enhance that gear slot past level 31 until you get a higher level piece. That is why even if you may have the enhanced materials necessary to do that, you may still be blocked or have the option grayed out for you right now. In this case, I highly recommend focusing maybe on this independence simply because they actually provide those bonuses for all of your weapons, not just one single weapon slot like in the case of the two above. Otherwise, for our components, you'll notice that pretty much every single one of these enhancements requires some kind of rock or other similar ores you find in the open world. So literally every time you're out into the open world, always collect even the pebbles you find on the side of the road. Meanwhile, in the case of the oscillating jades and whatever other thing replaces them, typically they will drop from boss trials, both single player and the co-op versions. You also get them from events as well, getting rewarded. Even like the seasonal shop sells for 15 apiece, 15 of these Jade Fish apiece. Now, a special mention we have to make is going to be about your skill trees and why they are so important. One is that there are two skill trees in the game. One is going to be your talent tree and the other one is going to be the oddities collection, but make no mistake, both of them are equally as important. However, they are also kept, like in the case of breakthroughs, so you're going to unlock progressively more access to more skills as you go deeper into the lines, as you go to high breakthrough levels. Right now, you should be kept at about breakthrough 3, so later tonight it should be to 4, giving access to like a few more sections of skills. But in terms of the talents, you get a lot of important things here. You're going to get all of your important weapon abilities, like the charge skills, heavy attacks, like that. Also some of your weapon swap mechanics, plus abilities, 6 skill slots. There are 8 of them in total, plus many more. I also recommend getting the Surging Meridian Guardian Chi Core. This is literally going to be a cheap death mechanic. Every 12 seconds, instead of getting a fatal blow, you instantaneously recover 20% HP for 3 seconds and gain invulnerability for 3 seconds. So literally you have 3 seconds of CP, but only in solo mode. Meanwhile, for the oddities, since you're going to require so many of those collectibles, you will want to pay attention to the open world every single minute you're out in it. So every single time you scan the minimap, look out for these mini icons to indicate if there's any beetles or bees or any of the plants nearby so that you can collect that oddity. You're going to need hundreds of them anyway, but they are important for all the skills that you get right here. And because of the 2-for-1 exploration skill that you get the moment you have at least 200 exploration attributes, which is literally very early on, you will have a small chance to instead get extra of these rewards while in solo mode from one single collection. And some of the most important perks we get from here are the lightness or the wall strider skill. This is just going to let you traverse much quicker than any mount out there. If you hold down shift, you're going to have a lot more speed.
No, did he already tell you? Okay.
This is 17-year-old Elizabeth Maldonado. A few hours ago, her boyfriend was found mysteriously shot dead in a back alley. Tragically, Elizabeth is also pregnant with their child. Her mother, Ortiz Chavez, is trying to comfort her daughter. What Elizabeth doesn't know yet is that her mother is hiding a dark secret that will ruin the family's life.
Your mom's car is on video leaving the homicide. You seriously think that they did it? Yes. My mom loved that child.
As detectives work the case, more and more clues start pointing towards Elizabeth's family, and as she learns that her own family are now suspected killers, all she can do is deny the accusations, while her mother sacrifices her own children to hide what she's done.
Alright, Ellen, do you want to talk?
It's a quiet Friday morning in downtown Albuquerque. A 16-year-old boy walks alone through a back alley on his way to work, unaware that a killer is waiting for him inside one of the parked cars. Then, a single gunshot rings out, striking the teenager in the head and killing him instantly, while the shooter disappears from the scene. Within minutes, multiple 911 calls start flooding in reporting the gunfire. Patrol units quickly respond to the area, and as officers turn down the alley, they're met with a grim scene. Lying on the pavement is a teenage boy, motionless, with blood pooling beneath his head. The victim shows no signs of life and appears to have a gunshot wound visible just above his temple. Whatever happened in this alley happened fast, and whoever pulled the trigger is already gone. Officers call it in and begin securing the perimeter. With no weapon in sight and no ID on the body, they now need to figure out who he is and why he ended up here. Backup units soon arrive and start canvassing the area, looking for anyone who might have heard or seen what happened. And before long, 2 witnesses come forward, claiming they saw something strange right after the gunshot.
One of them is a nice male. He turns around, runs back to the alley, and
I just have RNG here. I just observed weird activity. I just had gut-wrenching feeling that someone was about to get shot because there were just weird people back here. And I saw this kid, this guy right here who shot. He was over here talking to some girl. And last minute, I saw him there. I turned the corner, and I heard a gunshot when I was on this side of the road. So I came back over here, and the car was down.
You heard a shot?
According to witnesses, a single gunshot was fired, followed by a group of teenagers scrambling in every direction. One of them was seen jumping into a car with a girl before speeding away. The information is vague, but it gives police a starting point. Detectives soon arrive at the scene and launch a formal homicide investigation. While examining the body, they notice something odd about the victim. He's still wearing an apron, the kind used by restaurant staff, suggesting he might have worked nearby. That small detail sends them straight across the street to the only restaurant in sight, Lindy's Diner. Inside, the owners immediately recognize the victim. His name is Josue J. Ruiz, 16 years old, a dishwasher who'd only started a few weeks earlier. They tell police Jay's grandfather is a regular customer, and officers are able to call him and ask him to come down to the scene. When Jay's grandfather arrives, detectives have to break the tragic news to him. But what he tells them about Jay's life will start to hint at darker things he may have been involved in.
So, I don't know if anybody's told you this, and I was trying to see if yours. Obviously, Sway. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Sway's passed away. So that's what we're here for. So we're here to try to figure out what happened and try to do the best we can, obviously. Alright. He's your grandson, correct? Okay.
He was involved with something, but I could never get the truth from him. I could never get it. There was one friend that he was involved with that, I really didn't approve of. I was just getting ready to pull him out. Take him somewhere else, so he can have a job.
Although the news clearly breaks him, he takes it with quiet strength, telling detectives that his grandson had been involved in something lately that might be what got him killed. And as the conversation continues, he mentions one more heartbreaking detail. Jay wasn't just a teenager with secrets. He was about to become a father.
Yeah, they're my apartment. He's at your apartment right now? Yeah, he called me this morning and told me, hey, we're going to see a great grandfather. That's what he told me. So.
No kidding. Is his girlfriend?
Elizabeth, I think it's Maldonado.
She's at your apartment
right now, yeah.
The revelation only adds to the tragedy. Jay's girlfriend, 17-year-old Elizabeth Maldonado, is pregnant with his child and has no idea that he's gone. Investigators plan to speak with her later, but for now they allow Jay's grandfather to leave the scene and deliver the news himself, telling her that detectives will be in touch soon. If anyone can explain what Jay had been caught up in, it's her. About an hour later, the homicide case is officially assigned to Detective Anna Bruciaga as the lead investigator. After reviewing the initial reports and witness statements, she begins canvassing the area for any surveillance footage that might reveal what happened. It doesn't take long before officers locate a camera mounted outside a nearby school, angled directly towards the alley where the shooting took place. When they sit down to review the footage, they finally get their first visual clue of Jay's killers.
So these are all the cameras that are running through system. The analog sensors, fair warning. This faces the alleyway. Once the shot happens, the people loading the vehicle will react. So it's the individual left of the vehicle, so right here.
So he just walks to the passenger side.
Then they react.
Is this victim? Almost looks like it's real.
On screen, a gold Toyota sedan can be seen racing away seconds after the gunshot, and through the tinted glass, detectives can barely make out what appears to be two figures inside the vehicle, meaning there are at least two suspects on the loose. A couple of hours later, detectives arrive at the apartment where Jay's girlfriend, Elizabeth, is staying. They believe she might help them understand what Jay had been caught up in, but they have no idea that they'll soon come face to face with one of Jay's killers, someone far closer to him than anyone imagined.
You mind if we come in here? Yeah, absolutely. I know that obviously he was possibly having some issues with some people, right? Can you tell me about that? He doesn't have to tell me much about it. So let's start like today. What do you do today? He took a shower by like 8 o'clock. He was getting ready to go to work at 10. I was making appointments today because we found out that I'm pregnant. Well, he was texting me still until at least around 12 o'clock. And then he stopped answering me for a few hours.
The timeline Elizabeth provides lines up with the shooting. Around 11:20 a.m. is when Jay stopped responding to her messages, the same time investigators believe he was killed. Beyond that, Elizabeth doesn't offer much, saying Jay often kept to himself and never told her what he was doing. To detectives, it sounds like Jay might have gotten himself involved in something he didn't want anyone else to know about. Maybe a deal that went wrong or a confrontation that escalated. And whatever it was, it's likely what got him killed. Or at least, that's what it seems at first. Because Elizabeth isn't telling the full story. Not yet. And the next thing she remembers won't just give detectives a new lead. It'll start turning suspicion towards Elizabeth and her own family.
A little bit from what I gathered from Grandpa is that he feels that he was up to no good lately. Can you tell me about that? This morning, me and my brother were supposed to box it out because this has nothing to do with this at all. My brother and him just don't get along. They bump heads very much. But my brother would never do this. He knows how I feel about Jay. And which brother? My younger brother? Your younger brother? What's his name? Angelo. Talk a little bit about why they were going to box it out. Me and Jay, we were arguing about something. I don't remember what. But we started getting really loud, and my brother got tired of it, so he came in and told him to stop yelling at me, and we just started fighting. Physically fighting? No. So did they text each other that they were going to fight? No. Jay called me and told my mom that he wanted to box it out with my brother.
According to Elizabeth, her brother Angelo was supposed to box it out with her boyfriend Jay that morning. A teenage fight meant to settle whatever tension had been building between them. Although the fight never happened and Elizabeth insists it has nothing to do with the homicide, it suggests the conflict could have been personal. Investigators will now have to follow up on this and look into Angelo's involvement before ruling him out. But before the conversation can continue any further with Elizabeth, Jay's family arrives at the apartment. Word of the shooting has already reached them, but they still haven't received an official confirmation from police. Detective Anna Bruciaga has no choice but to break the tragic news to Jay's mother, a moment that no amount of experience could ever prepare anyone for.
Can you tell us what's going on? Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I'm lost. Okay. Right now, I don't have much other than officers were dispatched to the alleyway in reference to his people. What happened? So he does have a that's why I'm trying to know people that's why I had to clear first, and then I'm going to be able to ask some questions. But as of right now, I don't. Okay. I really...
With the devastating news delivered, Detective Anna Bruciaga tries to gather any insight from Jay's family, but they don't seem to have any. Even his mother can't imagine who would want to hurt him, leaving detectives with no clear leads or motives to work with. As investigators collect Jay's phone and prepare to leave, another woman walks into the apartment, Ortiz Chavez, looking to comfort her daughter. Detective Bruciaga sits down with her to collect some basic information. A casual conversation at first, until Chavez mentions a small detail that catches the detective's attention and quietly puts her on the radar.
Purchased it? Yeah, do you have a plate on it? No, I don't. They took our tickets off. They took off the tag. Yeah, they took it off the car. Where you said it's yeah, so earlier this morning it broke down on her and then she just left it there.
As Chavez describes her vehicle, Detective Bruciaga immediately recognizes the description. A gold Toyota sedan, similar to the one caught on surveillance footage speeding away just seconds after the shooting. The connection is hard to ignore. Bruciaga notes the details but decides it's too early to jump to conclusions. Wanting to verify it as quickly as possible, she wraps up the initial interview with the family and heads out with officers to the spot where Chavez abandoned her car that morning. When they arrive, the car is nowhere to be found, and Bruciaga starts suspecting Chavez might be hiding something. About 40 minutes later, investigators return to the apartment to interview Chavez privately, and that's when things start to get interesting. By now, it's only been a few hours since Jay was killed, and most detectives would still be collecting statements, but Bruciaga's instincts tell her there's no time to waste. So she sits down with Chavez and makes a bold accusation.
So here's the thing, okay? So I believe your car was used in today's homicide. Okay? You're lying to me? No, I am not. So you're still my car? That's why I'm talking to you. Okay, so if you don't tell me who had your car, I don't know. It's your car. I left my car at the side of the road. Okay. I didn't let my car in the way.
Detective Bruciaga is quick to connect the dots, suspecting that it's Chavez's car that was speeding away. But Chavez claims she abandoned it, and it must have been stolen. However, the detective is about to take things one step further, because if Chavez's car was used in the murder, the next logical question is who was behind the wheel. And with what Elizabeth revealed about the planned fight that morning, there's only one name that fits: Chavez's son, Angelo.
So what I'm getting at is that what are the odds that your son and his friends have a problem with Jay, and Jay is now dead, and people are telling me it's your car on scene?
But my son said he wouldn't, and I went to farm, and I was with him today.
So you were with them all day?
Yes. My son had an interview at 9 o'clock, and we were over at the Whataburger over there.
You dropped him off?
No, I didn't leave the Whataburger.
Okay, so you waited for him to be done?
Yes, and we went back together to my house.
Okay, then you guys go back to the house. Okay.
And he stayed there, and I left with myself, the car, to go see Elizabeth.
Chavez's morning timeline only reinforces the detective's suspicions. If she really abandoned her car around 10:30 that morning and it suddenly vanished, then there's a very high chance it's the same gold Toyota caught on CCTV later when Jay was shot. Witnesses also reported seeing a young male and female inside the car. And with Chavez having both a teenage son, Angelo, and a daughter, Elizabeth, things are starting to look very suspicious for her family. For now, though, all of this remains as just early suspicion. After all, detectives know Jay had been hiding things. He was secretive and clearly mixed up in something he wasn't telling anyone about. But there's something eerily strange about Chavez's demeanor that Detective Bruciaga can't ignore. Even after being told her son might be involved in a homicide, she stays quiet, almost detached. Not the kind of reaction you'd expect from a mother facing that sort of accusation. And the longer the conversation goes, the more convinced Bruciaga becomes that the mother sitting in front of her knows more than she's letting on. So the detective decides to take an even bigger risk this time and make an accusation that most investigators would hesitate to ask this early on.
So, did you shoot Jay?
No, I didn't. No. He's a kid. He's a baby.
I know, but somebody did.
But no.
But I also feel like you know more than you're telling me.
I know.
Because again, I'm telling you based on your demeanor, I think you know what happened. And I know it's your car. And I am going to confirm it on video surveillance.
I hope you do, because I'm like lost right now.
Again, Chavez's reaction isn't what Detective Bruciaga expects at all. Instead of breaking down or reacting defensively, she simply denies it with a sorrowful face. This response leaves Bruciaga torn between two possibilities. Either Chavez is innocent but in complete shock, struggling to process what's happening, or she's carefully keeping her composure to hide a guilty conscience and protect her children. Either way, she sticks to her story, and with nothing concrete so far, the interview comes to an end. But even without proof, Bruciaga can't shake the feeling that her instincts are right, that one of Jay's killers is sitting in this very apartment. With her doubts only growing, Bruciaga decides to move quickly and verify Chavez's version of events with the one person who can either confirm or contradict it, her son, Angelo. Within an hour, investigators head straight to Angelo's workplace to talk to him in person. Whatever he tells detectives will either clear his family or make things even worse for them.
So there was a shooting downtown today, and somebody died. So I know that you knew him. I think he was actually somebody that you knew because he was dating your sister.
So legit?
Yeah.
Is he alive?
No, he's not. He's dead. So I just wanted to find out from you just a little bit.
Can you tell us where you talked to his girlfriend? Yeah. He said his girlfriend's sister.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So explain to me what this whole, like, your mom and your sister explained, like, this beef between you and Jay. So explain that.
We had a problem with your sister. Like I said, we had that with fun. We didn't really like talk after that. We both went separate ways.
Yeah. So your sister tells your mom tells you that Jay wants to fight. So when did you guys plan to meet?
I didn't plan nothing. He assumed. Because I was just like, we're good. We had all this shit before, but he did. He said he wanted to play talk.
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mean your mom said?
That's what Jay told me. Like, that's what Jay told to tell my sister to tell me. But so on and so forth. This is what I told him.
That you're supposed to meet. Where were you guys supposed to meet?
He just said he wanted to fight me. We talked to her, so I assumed. We got my door.
Angelo confirms most of what detectives have already heard from his sister and mother, saying Jay wanted to box it out that morning, but the fight never happened. Beyond that, there isn't much new information, and his version of events lines up neatly with his mother's timeline. For now, their stories seem consistent. But until those details can be verified, Detective Bruciaga knows she has to take everything they've said at face value. However, before investigators can dig deeper, Angelo's mother suddenly walks in, and this time, she's far less cooperative.
He's not gonna break me. You're not be talking to me. He's fine. But he's not in trouble, so he doesn't have to be 18 for us to talk to him. I mean, it's up to him. If he doesn't want you here, he doesn't have to have you, huh? Yeah, my sister, and of course, I had to have him go pick up. So there is one thing that we are going to need, just like you told with your sister, we do need her. So we're going to secure it. I need it. I don't have a phone. But your daughter's investigation, like I explained to you earlier, Elizabeth, I'm taking your phone. You're not giving it back until I'm done with it. But as soon as I'm done with it, I will give it back to you. You want me to take you to go find where your car was left? Because we've been all over there, we can't find it anywhere. Well, I'm going to go show you guys. But I want to make sure my kids get my tablet at home. And right now, my biggest concern is I just want to go home. What's your biggest concern? I don't go home. You absolutely go home.
Despite investigators' attempts to convince her otherwise, Chavez insists on taking Angelo home. Even if her intentions are innocent, this sudden change in behavior doesn't help their case at all. If anything, it makes it look like an attempt to shield her son from further questioning. With the interview shut down, officers seize the family's phones, hoping digital evidence might reveal what they're not saying out loud. Back at the police station, detectives spend the next couple of weeks combing through statements, surveillance footage, and phone data. What they find begins to reshape the entire case. Among the first discoveries are text messages showing that Chavez was directly involved in arranging the so-called boxing match between her son Angelo and her daughter's boyfriend Jay. In one exchange, Elizabeth texts Jay, saying that Mom says they'll be there at 8. Other messages suggest there may have been a gun involved. In one text, Elizabeth writes, "I'll be there too because I don't want anything like they pull a gun out." Investigators also uncover signs that Jay and Elizabeth's relationship was deteriorating, with both of them talking about breaking up. In one message, Jay tells her directly, "I'll talk to you when it comes to the baby, but I ain't doing this with you anymore." But even more alarming were the contradictions in the family family's statements. Elizabeth told detectives her boyfriend didn't leave the house until 10 that morning. Yet, Jay's phone shows him texting others about Angelo not showing up as early as 8 o'clock. In one of those messages, Jay texts a friend. They didn't show. 8 o'clock, the mom said, and it's 9. Man, her family's a bunch of I swear. Additionally, detectives uncover another name that hadn't come up before. Elizabeth's older brother, Gilbert. In his messages, Gilbert expresses anger towards Jay and even makes promises of retaliation. By the end of the review, Detective Bruciaga becomes convinced that the entire family might be involved in planning what happened that day. Now, it's no longer a question of what happened, but who did it and exactly why. In the days following Jay's murder, investigators were at a standstill. Because Angelo and Elizabeth are still minors, their mother refuses to let them speak with police, effectively blocking detectives from getting any answers directly from them. But 20 days after the shooting, that changes. Jay's girlfriend, Elizabeth Baldonado, turns 18 years old, and her mother can no longer stop her from talking. Detective Bruciaga seizes the opportunity and convinces her to come down to the station to see the new evidence they've uncovered, carefully leaving out that it's evidence pointing towards her own family. The goal is simple: find out who was directly involved in Jay's killing, or better yet, get a confession. But before we get to that, do you struggle with deciding what to cook every day, or just end up ordering food every time? HelloFresh might be the best option for you. It saves you both time and money on your daily meals. They're America's #1 meal kit, making home cooking easier with chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. But this fall, they're serving up even more to love. HelloFresh has doubled its menu, now offering over 100 options each week. Now you can get steak and seafood recipes delivered every week for no extra cost. And there are 3 times the seafood options as before. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/DrInsanity10FM to get 10 free meals and a free breakfast for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/DrInsanity10FM to get 10 free meals and free breakfast for life. With that said, let's get back to Elizabeth's interrogation. This time, detectives plan to double down on the accusations instead of playing nice. But this will soon backfire, because unlike her mother, Elizabeth's reaction will be very different.
Now that some time has passed and you've had time to think about it, Elizabeth, I want to hear what happened. Because I think you know more than you told me that day.
I don't know anything. I really don't. Why would you guys assume that? Why would I know anything new about that?
Because I have your phones, and I've looked through your phones. And so I do believe you know more.
What would I know more about? About who killed him? About who did it? No, I don't know. I really don't know who did it. If I knew who did it, I would have told you already.
So I know that you and him were having some problems, and he broke up with you and you wanted to get back with him, and he told you no. I will talk to you when it comes to the baby, but that is it. And he wanted nothing to do with you.
So you're saying that I had someone do something to him? Are you serious?
Okay, here's the thing, okay?
I loved him more than anything in the world. I would never do anything like that. I would never have anyone do anything like that because I loved him more than my whole life.
And actually, I do know that because you guys texted I love you so much, tons. So I do know that, okay? But you have to understand, Elizabeth, I'm investigating his homicide. Somebody killed him, okay? Have you ever watched homicide shows? Yeah? Okay, so you have to know that if I see anything like that on the phone, you have to know that I have to ask you these questions. Because at this point, I have gone through your phone, I have gone through your brother's phone, I have gone through Josue's phone, I have gone through other things, and I have to ask these questions because I have a feeling you know more than you're telling me.
I don't! I really don't! I don't know anything more than I'm telling you.
As planned, there is no small talk or warm-up. Right away, Detective Bruciaga tells Elizabeth she's not being fully honest. The approach is blunt, and it's clearly hitting a nerve as Elizabeth quickly grows defensive. But Bruciaga isn't backing off just yet. She's about to bet everything on her next move, laying out every piece of evidence she has against the family in hopes of eliciting an admission from Elizabeth.
Okay, so you brought up that your brother Gilbert had mentioned and said that he was going to send someone up there to take care of
But he didn't, because my brother knows that if he were to do anything, I would never speak to him again, or at all. I would have him part of my life at all.
So Gilbert didn't do it?
Why would my brother do it? My brother literally knows how I feel about him.
So I'm pretty sure you've been in the household and have heard conversations. Correct?
Heard what?
Anything. Anything they talked about.
They do not talk about anything.
Okay, so where's your mom's car?
I don't know. You're seriously assuming that one of my family members did it? Because the car is missing. She literally filed a report that her car was missing that night.
Okay, so you say you love Josue, right? And he's the love of your life. So why are you covering for your mom and your brother?
I'm not covering for anybody. Are you fucking serious? You seriously think that they did it? Yes. My mom loved that child too.
Okay, maybe not your mom, but what if I told you that your mom's car is on video leaving the homicide? What if I told you that?
You know how many Toyota Camrys that are gold live in the city?
But what are the odds that your brother and Josue were
My brother was at home. My brother was at home with his girlfriend. They were literally sleeping until he had to go to work.
It's clear that Elizabeth has reached her breaking point. Every accusation towards her family is pushing her closer to the edge. Most investigators would pull back here, take a break, try to de-escalate, but not Detective Bruciaga. Instead, she decides to take a bigger risk, one that's bold but calculated. Rather than fighting Elizabeth's denials, she will lean into them, even agreeing that she's only trying to protect her family. In doing so, Bruciaga wants to make Elizabeth feel safe enough to talk and reveal what she's really hiding. It's a delicate psychological play, one that could end the interview entirely or solve the case right here and now.
But I'm gonna tell you right now that your mom said she drove Angelo to his interview. Guess what? Angelo said he borrowed the car from your mom and he drove himself to the interview. So obviously, somebody's lying. And I kind of understand that you don't want to see.
No, you don't. They don't. They did not do it.
Because
you are literally looking in the wrong place. You're just trying to blame somebody just so that you can get someone for the crime. I know they didn't do it because, well, I don't know for sure, but I know they wouldn't have done something like that. They know how much that would crush me. And literally, they have seen how much I have died these past 2 weeks.
Okay, and I'm not telling you if I find out your brother. I'm telling you when I gather up all my evidence and I arrest your brother. I hope that you didn't know more.
You guys can be however you like. My family did not do it.
Elizabeth, you can't get out without us letting you out there. Elizabeth, I think you're ready to tell me more than you're telling me, okay? You have to realize, Elizabeth, that somebody took your baby's dad's life, and now that baby is not going to have a father. And as much as you love your family, they still took your baby's dad away. Now that baby's not going to have a dad.
Oh my God, I know that. This is really all I think about it. Wait, the words.
Can we finish talking in the conference room? Just because I can't hear, actually. Yeah, we can't be sitting in the hallway, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. This is our victim site, so.
Elizabeth's finally had enough. The weight of the questioning breaks her down, and she's emotionally exhausted. Detectives try to take advantage of the moment, hoping her vulnerability will make her open up, but Elizabeth doesn't budge. Through tears, she keeps insisting her family is innocent. With nothing useful coming from Elizabeth, the interview ends. She's escorted out of the building, and investigators are back to square one. Still, Detective Bruciaga can't shake her suspicions. She knows this family is hiding something. What she hasn't figured out yet is that she's been focusing on the wrong suspects all along. Over the next couple of months, the case remains wide open. Investigators keep digging, and what they find is even more alarming. First, they learn that Chavez never followed through with her stolen vehicle report from the day of the murder. Then, while combing through phone data, detectives uncover explicit threats from Elizabeth's older brother, Gilbert, directed at Jay. In one message, Gilbert writes, he's gonna catch one, clearly hinting at plans for violence. In another text, he says, delete our messages and don't say anything about me saying I was gonna shoot him. It wasn't me for real. I ain't trying to deal with cops. Based on these details, investigators start to speculate that Gilbert may have taken things further, possibly supplying a gun or even using it himself to shoot Jay. Chavez, realizing what her sons had done, may have then disposed of the car to cover their tracks and build an alibi for the family. The new findings push Gilbert to the top of the suspect list, right beside his brother Angelo. But as compelling as the theory sounds, it's still just that, a theory. The case remains strong on suspicion, but weak on proof, and Detective Bruciaga desperately needs anything concrete from the Baldonado family. So, on May 19th, 76 days after Jay's murder, Bruciaga and a team of officers head to the family's house determined to confront them face-to-face and see if she can pressure someone into cracking. When the investigators arrive at the door, no one expects how quickly things will get heated.
Oh, hi Gilbert, how are you? Hi. Can I actually talk to you, Gilbert? You know what it's about because, I've already done some research. I'm going to talk to you right here in the door. Do you want to come talk to me over here? Hi, Elizabeth. How are you? Good? Okay. Is your mom here?
She's showering.
You might want to go tell your mom that I would like to talk to her again. I'm going to talk to Gilbert if he's willing to speak with me. And Gilbert, again, I don't want to talk to you right here in front of the door. Do you mind coming even over here?
Yes.
So, tell me what you know.
Like I said, I moved in. Like,
Okay, so I'm not going to play games with you, okay? I know you threatened to take care of Josue.
yeah, but I didn't do anything.
Okay.
I was in here. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so obviously you do know why I'm here and why I'm talking to you now. You want to discuss, or do you want me to just take it for at face value? I already saw the Facebook, so... Huh?
So you can do whatever I do shit, so...
Okay, so... Again, in your Facebook, you do disclose and say you're going to send somebody to take care of him.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
okay, so well, who'd you send? Because he died.
I didn't send nobody.
Do I need to be any clearer? He died.
Yeah, but I didn't send nobody. Ain't nobody want to do it. They're all scared.
Can I see your phone? Can I see your phone? Thank you. It's a T-Mobile? Okay, I'm going to take it. I'm going to do a warrant on it, okay?
Yeah, take my phone.
Yes. Again, you have to realize that I'm investigating a homicide. Okay, a homicide in which you threatened to kill my victim.
So you're going to take my phone?
Yes. I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to do a warrant on it. If for any reason...
Just pictures, I'm saying unless you want to see something, but that's all that's up.
Okay. Well, I won't look at pictures, but I am interested in who you've been talking to, text messages, and so on, so I am going to do a warrant on it, okay?
With no luck getting anything useful from Gilbert, Detective Bruciaga cleverly confiscates his phone, hoping it might hold the evidence she needs but still can't prove. As this is happening, Chavez is seen stepping outside and speaking briefly with officers. She looks like she's in a hurry to leave. Not willing to let the moment slip away, Detective Bruciaga plans to intercept and confront her about the boxing match she helped organize to see how she reacts when cornered. This time, however, Chavez isn't the same calm, collected woman from before. What Bruciaga gets instead is a very different side of her.
Hello. I'll go back to you. Can I talk to you really fast?
I have to catch the bus, so, it got 5 minutes of my time.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you for speaking with me. Have a good day.
We'll check in with you before you leave. Talk to me.
Hi, Elizabeth. I know you're going to be quick and all, but so you know why I'm here, okay? I don't got to repeat myself. I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to play games, okay?
Confirmation number from when I called that same evening. And
yeah, you didn't report your card.
I did. This is it. Yes, it is.
I already know.
Okay, no, I'm not trying to name with you, but this is the confirmation number.
So why did you set up a fight between Angelo and Josue?
No.
Yes, you did.
No. He called to the house. He was asking for a fight. I was like, wait a minute, you want to do what? I was like, are you serious? Was either that they want to sit there and do some stupid things. I'm not trying to have stupid things going on between those boys. Those boys don't know how to get along.
Like I said, I have phones. I already know when you called it in. You never fully followed through.
I did. I waited for them to get here.
Okay, do you have the title to the vehicle?
It's in that vehicle. That's what I was trying to tell y'all. Like, I cannot get any more information because it was in the vehicle. I didn't get to register the car or anything.
You've had the car since before January.
Yeah, and I also had to get an alternate for it. You know how much money it takes just for me to save for just a little bit, a few things? But the little boy, he called. He wanted to make the fight.
Right. I'm not saying Josue didn't set the fight, but you let them know and you set up the fight because they were going to fight that morning.
I let them know because they had to know. I'm like, this is what's going on. This is just we gotta think about this. Yeah, I let them know because they needed to know because that's all right.
So I'm gonna tell you something, okay?
Yeah, my 5 minutes. I'm done.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, okay? When I charge someone, you're gonna be charged along because I know you're hiding the truth and I know you're listening to me, and it would suck for Aurora and Elizabeth's baby to not be present, for you not to be present, because I will charge you because I do know you were gonna set up that fight that day. The end. I got it off your daughter's phone. Goodbye.
Clearly, Chavez is done talking as she storms off the scene, angry and defensive. But in her frustration, she lets something slip, admitting that she knew about the fight between Jay and her sons, though she insists it was all Jay's idea. Before leaving the house, Bruciaga tries once more to speak with Elizabeth to see if she's finally ready to tell the truth.
How you been, Elizabeth?
Fine.
Are you still pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah? How far along are you?
Well, for my menstrual cycle, she said 14 weeks and 7 days.
So, Elizabeth, you know, we talked last time, and I know you were very upset, and I can't imagine what you're going through, because you're kind of put in between, but I already know you know what happened.
No, I don't. I don't remember what happened at all. All I know is that when his grandpa got back, he told me that Jay was dead.
I would just hate, and I truly, from the bottom of my heart, still believe that you weren't involved, but I would just hate to find out that you were involved, and then where does that baby go? Because he no longer has a dad. That day, there was a witness that describes a female matching your exact description, talking to Josue right before he gets shot.
I was at the house.
Okay, do you realize how close you live?
I was literally cleaning.
Again, Elizabeth, listen to me.
And then when his grandpa came home, he walked in on me washing the dishes.
You're not going to change my mind because, I mean, is it weird that she lives here and she knows nothing?
Well, Elizabeth, you have to think. Can I talk to you for a second, Elizabeth?
What?
So,
Say something else.
we're not trying to upset you any more than you already are or anything like that. But you have to think about how when this case goes to court, one, when people get arrested for things like this, they don't care if it's family, friends, or whoever else they can or will throw under the bus to try to get themselves a better deal. When this goes to court and a jury of 12 random people, don't worry about what I think about it. Don't worry about what Hannah thinks about it. Think about what those 12 people think about it. You got to think about what's best for him or her.
Okay, I better write you guys about that.
If you hear something comes up.
That's too sensitive.
With Elizabeth repeating the same story as before and no progress made, the officers decide to leave. But Bruciaga gives the family a promise. The next time she comes back, it won't be for questions. It'll be with a warrant. A month later, on June 15th, investigators finally get the break they've been waiting for. Cell tower data definitively places Angelo's phone at the scene of the murder at 11:20 a.m., the same time Jay was killed, directly contradicting his earlier alibi that he was home with his mother. With this new evidence, a warrant is secured for Angelo's arrest, and Bruciaga returns to the Baldonado residence, just as she promised. That afternoon, 16-year-old Angelo Baldonado is arrested and charged with murder. Now with the prime suspect finally in custody, police have the chance to interview him without his mother intervening. Bruciaga hopes this will be the moment they get to close the case for good. But to her surprise, Angelo isn't about to make that easy, because this time, he has an escape plan of his own.
Hey, Angelo. I'm still upstairs, sorry.
Is my mom going to be here somewhere?
Is your mom going to be here? Was she driving? Was she driving down here?
Oh, she was talking to one of the people that was over there.
Oh, at the house? I was at the office, sorry, I was no longer at the house. Okay.
She should be coming.
So she should be coming. Okay.
And if not, she should come.
She should? Okay. So you do remember me, and I actually do know you remember me because you're like, can I talk to Anna? So, but again, I am Anna Bruciaga, DPD. This is my partner. So, Angelo, because you are a minor, I am going to read you your rights. And we're...
So I want my mom here in this meeting, but none of your questions from I was like, to my mom ago.
So you want your mom here while I read you your rights as well?
Yeah, I want her for the whole thing.
For the whole thing? Okay, sure.
Thank you so much.
At this time, you are going to get booked for your warrant, okay? It's a homicide warrant. Okay. Again, because you said that you wanted to speak to me with your mom, I can't ask you questions. At this point, I am booking you for the homicide warrant, and that's all I can do.
It's certainly not the response Detective Bruciaga was hoping for, but it's hardly surprising. After months of his mother keeping him away from investigators, Angelo refuses to speak without his mother or a lawyer present. With no cooperation and no confession, there is nothing more detectives can do. Angelo is booked into the county's juvenile detention center, held without bond while prosecutors prepare to take the case to trial. For now, he's the only family member officially tied to the crime, and investigators believe they've finally got Jay's killer behind bars. But what no one has caught on to yet is that Angelo isn't the one who pulled the trigger. He's just a scapegoat, taking the fall for a killer who's still free and quietly getting away with murder. A full year passes since Jay was tragically killed. His pregnant girlfriend, Elizabeth Baldonado, gives birth to his son in November 2022. Her social media posts show a young woman trying to rebuild her life, sharing photos of her baby, spending time with friends, and appearing to move on in a new relationship. On the surface, it seems like life is slowly returning to normal. Meanwhile, her brother Angelo remains in juvenile detention awaiting trial. The case seems closed, and Jay's family begins to find closure, believing justice has finally been served. That is, until, out of nowhere, police receive a phone call that changes everything. In March of 2023, a woman contacts detectives claiming she's been talking to Elizabeth's older brother Gilbert on Facebook, and according to her, he's just confessed to knowing exactly who killed Jay that day.
I've been kind of watching everything that goes on Facebook, and I was able to see that Gibby was pretty hateful towards his mom, and so I figured maybe I could get him to say something about it. So I messaged him, why is your brother locked up? Because my mom and him went to go find my sister's baby daddy because he beat her, and when they got there, my sister's baby daddy tried to pull out a gun, but he got hit before he could even get his gun. But they put the murder on my brother. I said, that's real up. Why they put it on your brother? He said supposedly witnesses were there and said it was him, and they say they also got video and that it looks like him in the video, but you can't see it. All you see is a big ass group, and then everybody scatters. I said, what the f***, your mom didn't tell nobody, it wasn't him. He said, no. He said, the crazy part is my little brother ain't telling on my mom. I said, so your mom did it and let your brother go down? And he said, yeah. I said, have you tried to tell your brother to tell? He said, yeah, but he tells me no, but that's how we was raised. No matter what the situation is, don't tell, and if we do, we gotta face consequences.
Needless to say, Gilbert's confession changes everything. Detectives already suspected Chavez's involvement in arranging the boxing fight, but no one imagined she was the one who pulled the trigger. Investigators begin to theorize that Chavez may have orchestrated the entire thing, luring Jay to the alley under the guise of a fight with her son, only to end it herself with a single shot to the head. But despite what sounds like a breakthrough, Detective Bruciaga knows she can't move too fast. Arresting Chavez now, based only on Gilbert's secondhand confession, could jeopardize the entire case. Without solid evidence, Chavez will be innocent in the eyes of the law. Over the next few months, investigators work quietly, monitoring jail calls between Chavez and her son Angelo. Most of the conversations are vague, small talk, cautious wording, but in one of the calls, Chavez makes an interesting statement. When Angelo asks why his brother Gilbert looks sad, Chavez replies, he's heartbroken you're in there. I told him it's because I f***ed up, because I'm stupid, period. Hearing what sounds like an admission of guilt, Detective Bruciaga seizes the opportunity and visits Angelo at the detention center, hoping this time she can finally get the truth. When she meets with him, she doesn't have to do much convincing, because Angelo is already prepared to make a deal and save himself.
Is everything we have in what's going on? Good idea. At least the first degree got one. So we know a way to work around it.
So if you're wanting to now give a statement,
we can definitely schedule an appointment where it's me, you, and the attorney, and then I'm more than willing to talk to you then.
After Angelo agrees to cooperate, detectives quickly arrange a formal interview with him and his attorney present. Angelo ends up corroborating his brother Gilbert's confession, confirming that it was his mother who pulled the trigger and drove away from the scene. With both sons telling the same story, there's only one crucial piece missing to solve the case: a confession from Chavez herself. Without her own words, the defense could argue that the boys are lying or that their statements were coerced. A few days later, an arrest warrant is issued, and Chavez is taken into custody. Detective Burciaga brings her into an interrogation room determined to secure an admission, not through confrontation this time, but through empathy. If the plan works, they'll finally close the case for good. But if Chavez sees through it, the interview will be over before it even begins.
I know that you obviously recognize me because we've met in the past more than once, okay? And regardless of what happened then, I'm not gonna be rude to you, I'm not gonna be disrespectful to you, even though in the past, well, you weren't the nicest, right? But you're here, and I'm not gonna be rude, and I expect the same of you. Fair? Obviously, I know you were visiting Angelo. I know you were visiting Angelo. How's he doing? He's okay? Yeah. Okay. How are you doing? I mean, just in general, not just because you already know why you're here. You've been in handcuffs. You've been in the back of the cop car. Just now. Yeah. So I'm gonna read you your rights, okay? Yeah. Okay, fair enough. With that being said, what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna stop this interview. You're going to jail on 2 warrants, okay? You do have an open count murder warrant, and you do have, and I have to look at that one to read you the text, but it's a warrant, okay? And that's not mine. It's not for me to discuss, but that's what one of the warrants is for, okay?
Unfortunately, things don't go according to plan. The moment Chavez realizes where the conversation is heading, she immediately shuts down the interview and asks for a lawyer. From here on, it's up to the court to decide whether the evidence against her is enough to prove what everybody already suspects. At the trial, prosecutors present the full scope of the case: phone records, surveillance footage of Chavez's car, the brothers' confessions, and the jail call recordings. They argue that Chavez disapproved of the relationship between her daughter and Jay, and was motivated by anger over how he treated her. They also believe she calculated that her teenage son would face lighter consequences if he took the blame. As for her other children, Elizabeth and Gilbert, investigators determined that neither had any direct role in the shooting. Elizabeth in particular is found to have had no knowledge of her mother's deadly intentions. She withheld some information to protect her family, but was ultimately determined to be a victim caught in the middle. Eventually, Angelo Baldonado pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and assault with intent to commit a felony, and is sentenced to remain in juvenile detention until age 21. His mother Chavez pleads guilty to second-degree murder and, in May 2025, receives the maximum penalty of 18 years in state prison. Chavez is also facing a separate charge related to child exploitation material found on her tablet during the investigation.
Money in, money out. That's the basic idea when Trump says we are now the richest. We are taking in trillions of dollars in tariff revenue, and so a dividend of at least $2,000 a person will be paid to everyone.
Yeah, we're going to issue a dividend to our middle-income people and lower-income people of about $2,000, and we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt.
As far as priorities go, these things all do make sense. Could most Americans use the money? Sure. Does tackling $38 trillion of debt at the same time sound appealing? Absolutely. But do the numbers add up? Let's see. Okay, let's do some napkin math. And not even one of those fancy napkins you might serve at a nice dinner party. It's going to be kind of grungy, half-used, leftover napkin at a diner, because this isn't exactly a detailed proposal, but let's work with it. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, says the U.S. president. So look, I know better than to think social media posts equal policy, but at the same time, if Trump is going to start handing out $2,000 to hundreds of millions of people, we should probably check the math. So in figuring out just how expensive this will be to pull off, we have to make some assumptions. First, that when Trump says paid to everyone, he means it, and that includes children, which would make sense because bigger households have been bearing more of the cost of Trump's tariffs by virtue of needing to buy more stuff. So it makes sense they'd be included, at least in some way. And this is, by the way, how stimulus checks worked during the COVID pandemic. During the first round of payments, children got a little less than half of what adults got. So figure, population of the United States, about 350 million, times $2,000 per American, that's $700 billion. But let's slim that down a little, because going by COVID stimulus rules, the country's 70 million kids might only get $800 deposits instead of the full $2,000. That saves around $84 billion. But then there's one more component to this, because we have to remember that Trump is excluding high-income people. How do we define that? I've seen a few different numbers on this, but the one I see quoted most often is that only the top 18% of American adults earn over $100K a year. If we can agree, then that's high income. And if you put 2 of those people together, you have a household income of $200K, which sure feels high to me. Then we chop those people right out, because Trump doesn't want them getting these tariff rebates. 18% of around 280 million American adults is 50 million people, so that's about 100 billion we can cut out of the equation, which leaves us with a total tariff rebate bill to taxpayers of just over $500 billion US. And turns out that's roughly middle of the pack when it comes to what the experts predict this will cost. One nonpartisan group figures the cost is possibly higher, up to $600 billion a year. But another analysis I've seen cuts that figure in half down to around $300 billion.
So I did some math of cutting it off just immediately at $100,000 and assuming that no children or dependents qualify. In that case, it would be those 150 million taxpayers that would get payments. And that, of course, would add up to $300 billion in payments.
But no matter which figure you take, there's a problem.
My friend Erica York at the Tax Foundation tries to be even more realistic, and she can get this to cost a mere $300 billion, which is still not enough. It still is more than the tariff revenue coming in.
Yes, money in doesn't equal money out. According to the US Treasury, last fiscal year, the government pulled in $195 billion in customs duties, which was made up mainly of tariffs. For 2026, the Tax Foundation Research Group figures that'll go up to around $216 billion in tariff revenue. And important to note here, while tariffs do tend to bring in more money in the short term, which we see very clearly, over the long term, revenue goes down because people and businesses find ways not to pay the higher price. So according to all the math I've yet to see on this question, without worrying too much about the exact numbers, what the Trump administration expects to pull in from tariffs is less than what it might expect to give out in rebates.
Okay, so this new rebate will cost $600 billion. How much are we bringing in tariff revenue? About $250 billion. So the reason my hands are like this is 600 is this big, 250 is smaller.
The president talks about tariffs as if they are this endless pool of money that he can use to offset various things, give certain groups money, pay down the debt, but you can't use $1 for all those three purposes. There just aren't enough tariff revenues to do all of these ideas that the president is saying he wants to do with tariffs.
So taking Trump's rebate proposal at face value, there is no clear way to make that math work. But that's not to say Trump isn't trying to solve a problem here.
In a recent CBS News poll, 2 out of 3 Americans told us they're stressed about their own finances. 3 out of 4 said their incomes are not keeping up with inflation. That's a lot of people struggling to make ends meet.
Everything, just keeps going up. Well, I used to spend $40 a week, now it's $140 or something like that. I just don't think it's going to go down for a long time.
There is a disconnect right now between the apparent strength of the economy and how weak it feels to most people. Yes, stocks as a broad trend line have never been higher.
The S&P and NASDAQ record highs again.
But you can't eat stocks. And when you think about who owns stock, who has disproportionately benefited from this overall stronger economy? Well, you see this bar representing the bottom 50% of Americans by wealth. Their portfolios mostly in real estate and consumer goods stuff. But as you get richer and richer, all the way to the top 0.1%, most of your wealth is in the markets.
The broadest index, the S&P 500, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ have set records more than 30 times this year. And there's other data that suggests the economy is still chugging along at a steady clip.
And by all accounts, the gap between rich and poor has been growing. You know how much wealth the bottom 90% of Americans hold? According to the latest Federal Reserve data, it's just under 37% of all wealth in the United States. I'll say that again, but in the opposite direction. The top 10% of Americans own more than 60% of the wealth.
A lot of households feel squeezed by both higher prices and lower wage growth than they would have hoped for.
10% of the most wealthy people in the country are responsible now for 50% of consumer spending. It's middle income, lower income folks that are really struggling as prices remain elevated.
So if the economy is doing great, but that good news is concentrated at the very top, maybe Trump's impulse to spread some of this new tariff wealth is well-intentioned. Except, beyond the problems we've already mentioned, maybe there are 2 more.
Inflation is still above the Fed's 2% target, and in recent months, it's even been trending upward instead of continuing to go down. In part, that is because of the impact tariffs are having on certain consumer goods. And then if we layer a $2,000 per person check on top of this, that pushes in the wrong direction for the inflation question. That loosens fiscal policy, which will boost demand, which will boost prices.
Yes, Econ 101. More money in the economy chasing the same goods equals higher prices, which is precisely the thing that these rebates are meant to counteract, which then raises this uncomfortable truth about the nature of the rebate itself.
I understand the sentiment of wanting to give a rebate, but true relief would be offered by lifting the tariffs that are causing the harm and the burden in the first place, not keeping the tariffs in place, keeping the economic drag that they create, and then redistributing some of the collections.
A simpler thing to do is not take the money and just leave it there. When we take it with one hand, transfer it, and give it back to you, we create lots of inefficiencies and costs. We distort things.
You kind of wonder why you bothered in the first place. You could have just not done the tariffs.
So what then explains why Trump might send billions out the door in spite of these problems? Well, maybe it's because the math is secondary. Yes, Trump often boasts about the inflow.
Hundreds of billions of dollars of cash is pouring into our country now.
But he simultaneously argues that tariffs aren't just about numbers.
America will be a manufacturing nation once again. Reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us and we do it to them.
So the tariff money, literally incidental, as argued before the Supreme Court.
These are regulatory tariffs. They are not revenue-raising tariffs. The fact that they raise revenue is only incidental.
So there's that explanation. But let's also acknowledge reality, that there undeniably is a political boost one gets when you start handing out thousands of dollars, no strings attached.
It's messaging, it's not policy. So we just had elections in the US. A lot of what voters expressed distaste with, what they're troubled about, are issues like affordability, are issues like the economy. And most polling also indicates that voters are not happy with the tariffs.
This year's elections for the governorship in Virginia and New Jersey, an important redistricting vote in California, the New York City mayoral race, it was a real sweep for Democrats. The big blue wave taking over.
The blue wave, blue wave.
The big blue wave. It was a bit of a wake-up call for a Trump administration that finds its economic approval rating sinking lower and lower as more and more time goes on.
And so I think a way to try to get sentiment up is to say, hey, look at these tariff revenues, they're going to be rebated back to you. I think it's more messaging than it is a policy prescription for the economy. Checks to people sound good, so let's talk about doing checks to people.
I think in responding to this discontent and looking toward the midterm elections, the administration has to think about ways to change Americans' minds about their economic policies, and this is maybe a rearguard attempt to do so.
Which maybe is just politics. Trump certainly wouldn't be the first to play that game, but from a strictly economic standpoint, the experts we spoke to say there's good news and bad news. I'll start with the bad.
We reserve stimulus checks for moments when the economy is in deep trouble, after a financial crisis, during a COVID pandemic, things like that. If we start doing them every time someone wakes up and is worried about their polling numbers, our fiscal policy is even more of a mess.
But the good news, again, strictly from an economic standpoint, is that there's good reason to think Trump is just talking. Exhibits A through D, all the other times he's raised this idea, in October, in August, in July. There was actually a bill introduced by a Republican senator called the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025, which proposed giving $600 rebates to Americans using tariff revenue. But that bill never made it out of committee. No debate, no vote, neither in the House nor the Senate. And this is relevant because technically it's Congress that would have to approve these kinds of rebate checks. Congress holds the power of the purse. And Republicans deciding whether to vote in favor of these checks would be confronted with a very stark question. After all the trouble of declaring trade war with the world, imposing tariffs that have upended the global economy, but raising billions of dollars in the process, is the best use of that money the American military, tax cuts, servicing the debt, or simply giving that money right back to some of the same people who paid it in the first place?
Tonight on Hotel Hell, I'm in Longview, Washington, trying to save one of the Pacific Northwest's precious gems, which has been shamefully neglected.
Oh my gosh.
The wealthy hotel owner has a drinking problem that is spiraling out of control. What is the hotel owner? Jailed.
Philip was arrested for DUI.
You've probably seen Sophie Rain by now. She's that influencer who somehow keeps popping up on your For You page, either just as some superhero or accidentally teasing her OnlyFriends. Yeah, her. The one everyone can't stop arguing about in the comments. And honestly, for someone who swears she's just doing her thing, there's a lot about her that doesn't really make sense. Because behind that fake innocence and the whole I'm just being myself act, there's something a lot darker going on. Stuff that honestly shouldn't even have to be said out loud. Before we get into that mess, I want to put you onto something real quick. Because if you're watching this, your phone is already in your hand and your responsibilities are already being ignored. Might as well get paid for it. If you tap the link in my description or just point your camera at the big shiny QR code on screen, it'll drop you straight onto freecash.com. Now look, signing up takes like 5 seconds. Email, password, boom, you're in. And inside, it's basically a giant buffet of games and offers. Choose a game you want, hit the levels, and your balance starts going up immediately. Some people casually make 10 to 20 bucks a day doing this, and that's the minimum. If you grind a bit harder or speed things up by dropping a couple bucks on the in-game boost, you unlock the bigger offers. That's where people start pulling in numbers like $100, $300, even $500 on certain tasks. But you don't have to spend a cent if you don't want to. Stick to the free levels and you'll still stack up earnings. The whole point is turning your doom scrolling time into money without even changing your habits. Cash out is stupidly easy too. PayPal? Yup. Gift cards? Of course. No hoops, no nonsense. So if you're curious, and you should be because it's literally free money for playing, hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Sign up free. Start earning in your spare time, and because you used my link or code, you get a free $5 bonus just for signing up. Now, let's get back to the real mess. Because Sophie's situation, it goes way deeper than a couple of thirst traps. She isn't just another influencer pushing cringe content for clout. She's someone who's been actively targeting inappropriate audiences with the same content she uses to promote her OnlyFriends. And the worst part is, she knows what she's doing. She literally admitted to it.
I am aware that I have a on TikTok, which I'm going to also talk about.
And before anyone tries to say maybe she didn't know inappropriate audiences were following her, she absolutely did. A streamer, Cheezer, literally said his younger sibling got DMs from her account, his little brother. And the guy said, oh, my little brother subscribed to her OnlyFriends. I felt hurt. I beat the crap out of him. I'm keeping him away from these freaks.
Not this Sophie Rain girl. She's a I have no bro. Why would I respect this girl? She sells to little kids. My little brother, bro, he's only. How she feel about that? I felt hurt. Never again, bro. I'm distancing my little brother from all these freaks, these psychopaths. These are the new generation serial, bro. They're sending to little boys. Hello. The virgin that's actually got 100 times and ran through. Oh, her. Okay.
Wait, come on, you mentioned me again? What?
Huh? I want to start beef so bad. Sophie Ray, you're such a whore. You lie to your own audience. You're making money off of like girls buying you. You're a whore. You lie about being a virgin. I guess you haven't had black.
And honestly, can't even blame him. He even said it perfectly. These are the new generation serial creeps, sending DMs to young people and acting like it's normal influencer behavior. If a man were doing this exact thing, dressing up as characters for younger audiences, them and DMing them, he'd be in prison right now. And rightfully so. But because Sophie's a girl, people just scroll past it like, oh, she's harmless. What really took her over the edge was how desperate she was to protect this innocent girl image she's been milking for months. She even claimed she didn't want people thinking anything happened because she's a virgin. Yeah, okay. Because that's totally believable coming from Sophie f***ing Rain.
I'm doing crazy stuff, which I never have. I'm a virgin. Like, I'm a virgin to this day. Like, so people were going around saying I was doing porn.
See, the thing about Sophie is she knows exactly what she's doing. That whole I'm 19 and I'm so innocent stick, it's marketing. She's been crafting this fake purity angle to appeal to her fan base, which, by the way, includes a ton of inappropriate audience members. Her biggest tool? Baiting trends. She dresses up as superheroes, football players, anime girls, all characters younger audiences recognize. It's manipulative and gross because she uses imagery that appeals to inappropriate audiences to funnel that same audience straight to her content. That's not some fan theory, it's literal marketing trail. She'll post a video that blows up with 10 million views, most of which are clearly younger followers, and then suddenly her OnlyFriends promotion drops right after.
But recently, there's been a lot of allegations online talking about me sending photos, which I can proudly say I've never done.
And that's not speculation, that's literally what's been happening. Then she starts promoting interactive content. You know, the whole DM me if you want something special stuff, which, let's be honest, is just digital dressed up as influencer engagement. She even told followers, if you say hi, I'll send you my video. Then she followed up with, make sure to reply and follow up so I can DM you proof. So she's basically advertising to content and then asking people, including inappropriate audiences, to comment so she can message them. That's not influencer marketing. That's straight up predatory. She wasn't hiding it either. It wasn't on some burner account. It was on her main.
I see a lot of things recently about me, talking about me being a file and me sending to which I don't do.
People started noticing. Screenshots spread, parents freaked out, even though the creators were like, yeah, this crosses the line. Because it does. There's no gray area when you're pushing that kind of content where inappropriate audiences can see it. And you think with the amount of backlash, she'd stop. But nah, she doubles down, acting like the problem is people misinterpreting her. No, Sophie, the problem is you doing it in the first place. So let's start from the top. Sophie Rain built her image around being this quirky, cutesy, oh, I'm so awkward kind of girl from Florida. She's 19, says she's a virgin, and swears she's never done anything crazy. According to her, she's just misunderstood by the internet. Except, yeah, no one's buying that. She even had that beef with Aiden Ross. Yeah, the one where she tried to clear things up and ended up just making everything worse. She kept insisting she never met him and that the lie detector was wrong, even though everyone saw it proof she was lying. Like, girl, you're not gonna win an argument against actual science.
When you answer that, it just felt like you're lying. Can I ask one more time? Did you hit? Oh wait, it's not Sophia. It's Sophie, right? It's Sophie, right? Is it Sophie or Sophia Rain? It's Sophie, right? Did you have with Sophie Rain? No.
That's a lie.
Okay, thank you. I said the wrong name. Funny dumbass.
Then she pulled the classic no hard feelings move, trying to act calm while the entire internet was roasting her. It was the most obvious case of damage control, except it somehow backfired and made her look even guiltier. And for a second, it looked like karma finally caught up with her. Her verified TikTok account, the one she made all her money from, got banned. Hundreds of thousands of dollars down the drain. She goes on TikTok, practically in tears, saying, yo, my verified TikTok got banned and I need help. Someone's impersonating me, copyright striking me, and they did it 20 times.
Y'all, my verified TikTok account got banned and I need help. Does anyone know anyone that like can help me with TikTok and can help me get all these copyright bans down? Because someone's impersonating to be me and they're copyright striking my account and they did it 20 times and it banned my account. So can someone help me? My verified account is gone. I got all these little notifications. Your account is banned, blah, blah, blah. Copyright claim, copyright claim, copyright claim. More copyright claims. Like the list goes on and on and on. And it was removed because it infringes on someone else's copyright. So someone is impersonating me and then trying to take down my main account. So I just need help. Does anyone know anyone? Please DM me, let me know. I just need help, please.
She scrolls to her phone, showing the list of copyright claims like it's some kind of injustice. Your account is banned. Copyright claim. Copyright claim. She's acting like it's some conspiracy to silence her when in reality, maybe the universe has had enough of her nonsense. It was the first time she actually looked nervous because without TikTok, her whole brand collapses. Her innocent girl pipeline to OnlyFriends was cut off. No TikTok, no traffic, no millions. But of course, the ban didn't last. She's already back with another account, 2 million followers strong, posting the same recycled thirst traps and pretending to be the victim. Because that's her whole brand now. Victimhood. I'm being attacked. People don't understand me. The internet's bullying me. Nah, Sophie. The internet's just tired of your act. And don't even get me started on her virgin storyline. She's still out here swearing up and down she's never done anything, that she's pure, that people are just mean online. She even said, people think I have 1 to 100, but I'm a virgin. Girl, you're promoting an OnlyFriends and sending shower videos to strangers. No one's judging your personal choices, but lying about them while preying on inappropriate audiences? Yeah, that's where it gets nasty.
When you saw the hate and stuff you were getting, like what did you think? Because I saw you make like a TikTok or two.
Oh, because I don't know, honestly. I didn't want people to, because I'm a virgin, like I didn't want people to think that I had, that you hit, you know? It's just.
I get it. Okay, I get it.
It's like that started blowing up. I started getting worried for myself because then everyone was going to come at me.
Gotcha.
Like, lying and stuff.
Okay, so you are a virgin.
Yes, I am.
All right. See, I believe you. The internet's probably not going to, but I believe
Yeah, exactly. And that's why like I get comments every day saying like how many bodies I have and stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm a virgin. And as soon as that came out, I'm like getting worried now that people aren't really going to believe me.
Yeah, I get you. Wait, so how many bodies do they think you have?
Oh my God, they range from 1 to 100 in the comments.
Wait, how old are you?
She tries to say she's only doing all this to clear her name, but the math ain't